Chapter 215. The Shangwan father and son had gloomy faces. The respected Wei Long had lost to a silly little girl. This was a giant insult to the southern state geniuses. If this news reached Thunder State, where would the two of them have any face left? Can I go now? Meng Yingying anxiously scratched her head. I still have to give out canned food. There's nothing else for you to do. Chu Tian nodded. Go. Wei Long losing was an accident. When Meng Yingying duplicated abilities in martial arts, her spirit energy was consumed very quickly. If Wei Long had fought steadily, Meng Yingying would not have had a chance of winning. Who would have thought that Wei Long would be too fierce, directly using his strongest attack to kill Meng Yingying? As a result, he ended up harming himself. The strongest bullet hit him, and with the impact of Meng Yingying's power, Wei Long's solid defense collapsed in an instant. He was seriously injured on the spot, and he might not be able to recover in a short time. The Golden Arrow Marquis, Jiang Xiong, gave a few loud laughs. Powerful, powerful. Shen Fengho has opened this Zhang's eyes. Shen Fengho also felt his face light up. It's just that his luck was good. Wei Long was a famous genius, but he had lost to the common Meng Yingying. This was enough to shock everyone. The Golden Arrow Marquis' successor Jiang Shan also applauded. Central State is truly a land of heroes. Even if 3 of the 4 young masters aren't here, this lineup cannot be underestimated. Lien Pujuan and Lin Chang'an nodded. Actually, they had already discovered a strange phenomenon. Although Chu Tian's cultivation base was not high, whether it was the 5th awakened soul layer Yun Yao, the fiery Nangong Yin, or even Shun Fengho's only daughter Feng Kai Dai, they all treated him as the center. The Central State group was led by Yun Yao on the surface, but the real leader was this Chu Tian. This person definitely had something special about him. I don't accept this. Wu Yang stood out under Shangwan Feichen's signal. Wei Long was just too careless and did not use his strongest strength. How could the Southern State geniuses be inferior to Central State? I, Wu Yang, shall clear the name of Southern Province. Wu Yang unsheathed a saber and pointed it at Chu Tian. If you're a man, then don't cower. Fight me fair and square. Shun Fengho was a little displeased. Is the Western Marquis determined to pester us to the end? The Western Marquis revealed a helpless look. Actually, Southern State encourages competition, so I never interfere with the matters of young people. I'll let them decide for themselves. The Golden Arrow Marquis also knit his brows. The Western Marquis was deliberately targeting this young man. Although he did not know what kind of grudge they had, this was not the kind of attitude a noble should have. But the Golden Arrow Marquis did not want to offend the Western Marquis at this time. The trouble in Thunder State needed the Western Marquis help, and these youths were here to gain experience, so they wouldn't be of much use. If they were injured, then they were injured. All right. Chu Tian pulled out the Netherworld sword and walked out. The blue and white flames lingered on the blade. I'll accept the challenge. Shun Fengho sighed when he saw this. He was not worried that Chu Tian would be injured, but rather he was afraid that this grudge would become even deeper. Listen well. My ancestral Heaven Flame Saber art uses spirit flames to cultivate. It is famous throughout Southern State, and its might is boundless. Wu Yang revealed a fierce look, and his saber began to release red flames. My saber is infused with earth spirit flames and can instantly melt steel. Even Wei Long's defenses cannot block it. Because its might is too strong, it will be hard for me to show mercy. If I'm not careful and cripple you or even kill you, don't blame me. Chu Tian had a calm expression. Then let's see if your saber is stronger or if the sword in my hand is sharper. If your earth spirit flame is hotter or my netherworld flame is sharper. Arrogant and ignorant, then die. Wu Yang's flames were completely condensed, and he released his source spirit. His might instantly increased as he released his strongest move, Heaven Burning Dance. The saber seemed to summon the flames of hell as it contained a heaven-destroying might. Good move. Chu Tian's netherworld flame was also condensed to its limit. His entire body entered the netherworld and turned into a dazzling, burning sword glow. Netherworld Raging Flame Slash. Dang! The two burning weapons clashed, and the walls of the Marquis Palace's main hall were shattered. The saber chi and sword chi collided, fiercely shooting out. The two completely different kinds of strength seemed to cancel each other out. Wu Yang was shocked. This fellow could block his full-strength slash? Chu Tian was also a little surprised. Even Luo Xianglong couldn't block this slash. Wu Yang's strength was much stronger than he imagined. The two of them seemed to be evenly matched, but Wu Yang was actually a level higher. This was because when the saber and sword collided, a portion of the flames had landed on Chu Tian's body. If he didn't have the Starlight Immortal body, Chu Tian would have already been defeated. This saber art was not inferior to the Raging Flame slash. Wu Yang's weapon was also a top-grade soul weapon. Chu Tian's Golden Source Spirit was stronger, but Wu Yang's cultivation base was much, much higher. This slash counts as a draw. Wu Yang's saber lit up again. But how will you block my second slash? Wu Yang was very clear on his superiority. His cultivation base was suppressed. A fourth Awakened Soul Layer cultivator compared to a triple Awakened Soul cultivator. Not only was their spirit energy thicker, their spirit energy output was also faster. So Wu Yang was able to use the Heaven Burning Dance in a short period of time, but Chu Tian didn't have time to condense another sword art. Who would have thought that when Wu Yang condensed half of it, a pearl on Chu Tian's waist would release a glow? A large amount of netherworld flame would be released and absorbed by the long sword. What? Wu Yang's eyes were filled with fear as Chu Tian's sword stabbed forward. Wait, I admit defeat. Too late. The burning sword glow directly broke through the long saber. That sharp sword directly pierced through Wu Yang's protective spirit energy, and countless poisonous netherworld flames instantly drilled into his body. Wu Yang gave a pitiful cry before fainting. He lost again, and he lost in such a clean manner. Two peak fourth Awakened Soul Layer geniuses actually couldn't beat two peak triple Awakened Soul cultivators. Shangwan Feichen used his spirit energy to stabilize Wu Yang's injuries. After a simple inspection, he flew into a rage as he said, Wu Yang's meridians and viscera have been severely injured. I'm afraid only a high-grade sacred medicine can heal him. Damn! Shangwan Hong's face was filled with anger as he glared at Chu Tian with murderous intent. It was just a competition. Wu Yang clearly admitted defeat in the end. So why did you have to use such a vicious method to ruin his future? How could a vicious person like you appear in the central state? If I didn't show mercy, this waste would already be a dead man. Chu Tian sheathed his sword. Next time you want to cause trouble for someone, you should think about it first. Don't slap yourself in the face. It had been many years since someone dared to provoke the Western Marquis. The Western Marquis was still one of the 8 marquises of the southern summer country. The Golden Arrow Marquis looked at Chu Tian in a new light. The current youths found it hard to resist their pressure, but this youth named Chu Tian was calm in front of the Western Marquis and even dared to provoke him. He did have a bit of courage. You're going too far. Shangwan Feichen angrily stood up. I'll compete with you. Shangwan Feichen was the Western Marquis' successor and had the hope of inheriting the Marquis title in the future. The resources invested on this person were not something an elder like Shangwan Ming could compare to. So Shangwan Feichen's strength was far stronger than Shangwan Ming's. Even if he was on par with the shocking Chu Xinghe, he would still be on par. Shen Fenghe was afraid that Chu Tian would do something crazy. Chu Tian had used his full strength against Wu Yang, so it was impossible for him to fight against Shangwan Feichen. It would be better if Chu Xinghe came instead. Enough. Shen Fenghe was already filled with a trace of anger. Does the Western Marquis really want to go too far? How about you and I compete? Shen Fenghe was truly angry. With Shangwan Hong's family background, he was not afraid of Shen Fenghe, but for a small Chu Tian, there was no need to become enemies with Shen Fenghe, who was also one of the 8 marquises. Brother Feng's words are too serious. Shangwan Hong pretended to reprimand him. Feichen, you are still a successor, so how could you lower your status to challenge a lowly wild cultivator? Wei Long and Wu Yang's skills are not as good, so they've lost. Let's end this competition here. Shangwan Feichen gave a cold snort. The golden arrow marquis shook his head with a bitter smile. Everyone came to save Thunder State. So why did it become like this? Jiang Shan, entertain the geniuses of the two states. I want to discuss the strategy to eliminate this disaster with the two marquises. Jiang Shan brought the two Thunder State geniuses over. Thunder State is famous for its wine, so I'll treat everyone to a drink. Forget it. Shangwan Feichen was filled with rage. So how could he work together with Chu Tian? Wei Long and Wu Yang are heavily injured and I need to heal them. So I won't be accompanying you. After saying this, he left without looking back. Nangong Yun disdainfully said, petty and narrow-minded, he really isn't a man. Jiang Shan did not want any more trouble, so he immediately left with them. Jiang Shan's group of 3 and Chu Tian's group of 4 found a tavern to enter. Brother Chu's strength is truly impressive. The Golden Arrow Marquis' successor Jiang Shan sat down and immediately began to laugh. To be honest, I don't like the Shangwan family either. Isn't it just because they have an illustrious background? Ever since they came to Thunder State, they've been pointing fingers at us, acting high and mighty. Now, they've taught us a lesson, ha 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 ha. I never thought that Brother Chu would be able to defeat Wu Yang. Lien Pejuan had a face full of stubble. Although he was only 26 or 27 years old, he looked like he was in his 30s. If I fought him, I would only have a 50% chance of winning. My cultivation has already reached the peak 4th awakened soul layer, but Brother Chu is still in the void soul realm. This is truly incredible. Lin Chang'e gave an emotional sigh. The Chu family has produced a Chu Xinghe and a Chu Tian. Both of them have the qualifications to become marquises. Central State is not simple. Central State's Chu family is not simple. Wrong. Nangongyan quickly corrected him. Chu Xinghe is Chu Xinghe and Chu Tian is Chu Tian. They are not related at all. Moreover, although Chu Tian is also surnamed Chu, he is not related to the Central State Chu family at all. Jiang Shan, Lien Pejuan, and Lin Chang'e were all stunned. Chu Tian's potential was so strong, but he was not from a Central State Chu family. Feng Kai-dai gave a simple description of the matter, speaking of which, Chu Xinghe, Luo, Xianglong, and Yi Tianlang could not participate in this mission because of Chu Tian. Fuck! Lien Pejuan directly cursed. You crippled the 3 of them. Lin Chang'e was also stunned for a while before giving a thumbs up and saying, strong. You're too strong. No wonder Shun Fengho values Brother Chu so much. I really look forward to the day when I can go to the northern battlefield with Brother Chu and show off my skills against the spirit beasts. While Jiang Shan was speaking, he boldly picked up a jar of wine. I, Jiang Shan, admire heroes the most. Meeting everyone from Central State today can be considered fate. So let's make friends. No need to be polite. Drink as much as you want. Actually, the Golden Arrow Marquis was considered a person of Southern Xia's generation. Although he was born in a small family, he had great talent. With a lucky chance, he had obtained an ancient archery inheritance. He had spent half his life in the military and had many military achievements, finally being bestowed the title of Golden Arrow Marquis. He still held the kingdom's military command, and Thunder State was his military camp. Although the Golden Arrow Marquis was no longer on the battlefield, a third of the soldiers fighting the spirit beasts were trained in Thunder State. The Golden Arrow Marquis could not compare to the Southern Summer War god, the calm martial ruler, but he was very proficient in training. The Golden Arrow Marquis had a special method to train the army, and the soldiers he trained were all elites of Southern Xia. The people of Thunder State were proud of joining the army, so they developed a heroic style. Jiang Shan, Lien Pejuan, and Lin Chang'e all held positions in the army. They lived and ate with the soldiers, so they had a high reputation in Thunder State. Although Jiang Shan was a noble successor, he did not have the arrogance of a normal noble. Lien Pejuan and Lin Chang'e, although they were old nobles, they did not have a domineering personality. These people were worth making friends with. You're all here. When they were about done drinking, Meng Yingying ran over while gasping for breath. Behind her was Lin Mu and Fong Han, who were in charge of helping her. We've given 100 boxes of canned food to the soldiers of the 3 states, and everyone has been stirred up, receiving a very warm welcome. There's still a bit left, so I'll leave it for you to eat. Jiangshan was very curious. What are canned food? Central State Miracle Commerce has invented a kind of easy-to-store food. Feng Kai gave each of them a can of food. I'll also tell you that Brother Chu is the chairman of Miracle Commerce. If you think it's good, you can ask him. Miracle Commerce? This was the first time Lien Pajuan had heard of it. Little Brother Chu's company? This is quite new. Brother Chu is already doing business at such a young age. Chu Tian helplessly said, I'm not like you guys who were born in a large family and have the support of a family. Cultivating costs this much money, so I have to do some business. While speaking, the 3 of them opened the cans. It's demon beast meat, Meng Yingying confidently said. Quickly have a taste. The taste isn't bad. The 3 of them doubtfully took a bite. They had never eaten source energy cooked food before, so how could they imagine that demon beast meat could be this delicious? This is too incredible. When did demon beast meat become this delicious? Lien Pajuan and Lin Chang'e revealed looks of disbelief. Jiangshan excitedly asked, how long can this be stored for? Meng Yingying gave a shy smile. With Miracle Commerce's current technology, it can be stored for a year in a normal environment. What? A year? This was canned meat. A can of meat that could be stored for an entire year. Jiangshan suddenly realized how important canned meat was to the army. A cultivator's body needed a large amount of energy, and they needed a large amount of normal food. A normal awakened soul cultivator could eat an entire roasted lamb in one meal. So during the march, they needed a large amount of rations, so they had to bring some demon beast meat. Demon beast meat was very strong, and it was hard to cut with a knife. Not only did it taste bad, it couldn't be eaten too much or there would be problems. But this canned meat was different. An elite soldier could bring a canned meat, which was enough for a day. Body refinement cultivators ate level 1 canned meat, and awakened soul cultivators ate level 2 canned meat. Different cultivators and different levels of demon beasts were very beneficial to the army. This thing is too good. Jiangshan was full of praise. Brother Chu, I'll represent my father to discuss with you. How many canned meat can you supply each year? Chu Tian revealed a faint smile. You'll have to ask Yingying about this. Miracle Commerce already has 2 canned meat factories in operation, and we'll open 10 more in the near future. With enough materials, each factory can produce 20 to 30,000 high-quality canned meat every day. The production of canned meat wasn't bad. Jiangshan's eyes lit up, and he was very excited. From the popularity of the canned meat, our canned meat is in short supply. Meng Yingying thought about it. Every month we can supply Thunder State with at most 300,000 canned meat because there are high and low-level demon beasts. If it's canned meat for the army, the quality must be very high, so it should be around 10-15 million gold coins. This canned meat was not cheap. After all, there was a risk in trading across continents. 300,000 is too little, Jiangshan said without even thinking. How about 40 million gold coins for 600,000 canned meat a month? This price was already very good. When he saw Meng Yingying hesitate, Jiangshan quickly said, the Jiang family has no intention of stockpiling canned meat. These canned meat will be sent to the northern front lines, so it can be considered a contribution to the kingdom. We will not sell on the market, so Miracle Commerce can still trade with Thunder State's merchants. Of course, the kingdom would also have to pay. It would be very troublesome for Central State to send the canned meat to the front lines, but Thunder State had a natural geographical advantage. Selling these canned meat, earning 10-20 million a month wasn't much. The kingdom wouldn't care about this bit of money. After all, the canned meat could increase the battle strength of the army. All right, Meng Yingying made her decision. 600,000 it is. Meng Yingying had just arrived in Thunder State when she received a large order. Thunder State's Jiang family's order would bring Miracle Commerce 20-30 million a month in profit. Chapter 216. In the morning of the next day, the Thunder State army gathered. Thunder State City sent out 40,000 soldiers to attack the polluted villages. Their main mission was to stabilize the area and stall the large amount of demonic creatures. The three marquises led the most elite storm cavalry with a day's worth of rations. They set off from the camp like a sharp knife, stabbing into the center of the disaster area. Finish this battle quickly. Destroy the demon stone in one fell swoop. Countless Thunder State citizens came out to send them off. This was a once-in-a-100-year disaster, and it had brought a large loss to Thunder State. The people of Thunder State placed all their hopes on the three marquises, hoping that the strength of the three marquises would be enough to quell this disaster and bring peace back to Thunder State. The Golden Arrow Marquis said in a comforting voice, "Everyone, don't worry. With the support of Central State and Southern State, we will destroy the Demon Stone and return our Thunder State to its former glory. Long live! Long live!" Countless citizens cheered. Many people began to cry out on the spot. This disaster did not just bring a loss of wealth. It also made countless people homeless and made countless people lose their families. Now, they did not need to be afraid. The Southern Summer 8 Marquises were the peak experts of Southern Xia. They were as strong as gods in the eyes of normal people. Now that 3 of the 8 Marquises had come out, what problem couldn't they solve? This is strange. Shun Fengho rode on the storm horse and looked left and right. He asked Chu Tian beside him in a curious voice, "Where did Shun Bingyu go?" Shun Fengho had not seen Shun Bingyu since yesterday. Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile. "I had her make some preparations in advance, just in case something unexpected happens." Shun Fengho helplessly nodded. Shun Bingyu had a bit of friendship with him, and Shun Fengho was very clear on this woman's personality. Even Shun Fengho could not order her around, but who would have thought that Shun Bingyu would obediently follow Chu Tian's orders? It really was one thing against another. But speaking of this, what was this brat planning? "Everyone, please return to the city and wait for the victory. Everyone move out," the Golden Arrow Marquis loudly shouted. With the bugle calls, the 3 armies set off. Southern Xia's most elite cavalry unit was the Storm Knights. Thunder Continent sent out 2,000, Central Continent sent out 1,500, and Southern Continent sent out 1,500. 5,000 cavalrymen marched majestically toward the core of the disaster area. The entire world was gloomy and gloomy, as if it was enveloped by an evil and powerful aura. As the group approached the center of the disaster area, the withering of the plants became more and more severe. Planar cracks were very short-lived, because once a crack was formed, it would be automatically repaired by the space-time laws. Therefore, to the Abyss demons, the opportunity to invade the plane was something that could only be encountered by chance. However, if the demons of the Abyss world succeeded in breaking into the plane before the crack was completely repaired, they would break the spatial barrier and bring the power of the Abyss world to the Earth. The more powerful the invading demon, the worse the effects would be. Now that a large area of land had been contaminated by the aura of the Abyss, it meant that the invading evil demons were extremely powerful. So, when the demons invaded Thunder State, large amounts of citizens died, and a portion of the cultivators were turned into Abyss demon soldiers. This land that was contaminated by the aura of the Abyss would affect the plants and animals for a long time. Humans who lived here for a long time would gradually gain special abilities, but they would have to pay a price. If it was light, they would become violent and bloodthirsty, but if it was heavy, they would become abnormal. After 3 hours, the 5,000 cavalrymen lined up on the hill. The flags fluttered and the atmosphere was solemn. This was the deathly silence before the battle. "Everyone look!" The Golden Arrow Marquis held the reins in one hand and the golden bow in the other. In front of us is White Jade City that was directly affected. The Heaven Demon Stone fell in the center of White Jade City, and there are no survivors in the city. 80% of the normal people died, and around 20% of the cultivators were turned into monsters. A ruined black city stood in the plains in front of them. There was a giant hole in the center of White Jade City that looked like it was formed by a meteorite. But what was strange was that there was a green flame coming from the hole. Everyone could clearly feel that there was a strong consciousness and energy in the center of the giant meteorite that was beating in a certain rhythm. It was very strong. It was like a volcano. It could explode at any moment. The storm horses were affected by the aura and became restless. This kind of ability was very strong, and the trained demon beast mounts could barely resist it. If a normal cavalry came here, they would have been thrown into chaos before the battle even began. There are demonic creatures all around here, and the density is higher than we imagined. Shun Fengho looked around and found that there were large groups of abyss demon soldiers around White Jade City. If the three of us charge in, we'll run out of spirit energy. The Golden Arrow Marquis nodded. We need to delay the demonic creatures, and the three of us can take this chance to kill the demons. It was not hard for the three marquises to charge in. The problem was that they would be surrounded. What would they do? Even if the three marquises were strong, they would quickly run out of spirit energy. If a cultivator lost their spirit energy, they would not have any battle strength. I suggest we split into three groups. The Western Marquis gave a suggestion: 1,000 cavalry on the left, 1,000 cavalry on the right, and 3,000 cavalry on the center. We'll surround White Jade City in two groups, clearing out the threats on the outside and attracting the attention of the demonic creatures, drawing away most of the demon soldiers in the city. We'll take the center group to the meteorite in the center and destroy the demon stones, releasing the evil energy. I think it's feasible. The Golden Arrow Marquis said, we can't kill the demonic creatures, so the best way is to use the cavalry's mobility and White Jade City's terrain to restrict them, giving us a chance to kill them in one strike. Shun Fengho did not have any objections. The strategy has been decided. Let's prepare to move. The Golden Arrow Marquis, Jiang Xiong, announced, killing the demonic creatures today is the same as killing enemies on the battlefield. The one with the most merit will be rewarded by the calm martial ruler. Perform well and don't miss this chance. Feichen, the Western Marquis, suddenly called out, there's only one person left from the Southern State Trio. You and the Central State Geniuses will be responsible for the left. Letting Shangwan Feichen be responsible for the left, wasn't this just giving trouble to Chu Tian? Of course, this was also to take away this chance from Chu Tian's group. The calm martial ruler had prepared a very rich reward for this experience. The Golden Arrow Marquis' successor's Jiang Shan was not weak, and he had a high prestige in the army. Shangwan Feichen had to avoid Jiang Shan to have a chance to obtain merit. Shun Fengho gave a suggestion. The two successors can switch positions, making it easier for the troops to move around. Humph! Could it be that Feichen can't move around like an arm? What kind of logic is this? The Western Marquis, Shangwan Hong, did not plan on giving Shun Fengho face. The Golden Arrow Marquis' successor, Lin Pejuan, and Lin Chang'e have been partners for a long time, so they already have a tacit understanding. If we split them up now, wouldn't it decrease our battle strength? Central State is surrounded by no danger, and the youths have never been on the battlefield before. Even if Feichen isn't mature enough, he has fought with the Southern Barbarians for many years and has experience breaking through enemies. Although he doesn't have the ability to lead an army, he is more than enough to lead a team. Shangwan Hong said this, and then looked over Chu Tian's group with an arrogant gaze. Of course, this is on the premise that no one is hindering us. Shangwan Hong was not without reason. Shun Fengho did not think this way. The Shangwan family had provoked them twice yesterday, but they had been defeated and two geniuses had been heavily injured. These two geniuses were Shangwan Feichen's left and right arms. So how could Shangwan Feichen swallow this? He would most likely cause trouble for Chu Tian on the battlefield. In front of the enemy, there's no need to care about personal grudges. Shun Fengho did not say anything, but Chu Tian took the initiative to agree. Then let the Shangwan successor lead the troops. Chu Tian was not afraid of numbers. If Shangwan Feichen really dared to cause trouble, Chu Tian would have Nangong Yun cripple him. He didn't know how strong Shangwan Feichen was, but Nangong Yun's battle strength did not lose to a fifth awakened soul layer cultivator. Feng Kaidai was only a bit weaker than Nangong Yun, and there was also Yun Yao with the Thunder Spirit bead. The most important thing was, The super bodyguard Qinbingyu would protect them in secret. If this Shangwan Feichin was honest, perhaps everyone would be safe. Otherwise, the unlucky one would be him. After Shen Fengho understood this, he did not say anything else. Everyone was divided into 3 groups. The left group was led by Shangwan Feichin, the right group was led by Jiang Shan, and the 3,000 elites led by the 3 marquises were in the middle. Before Chu Tian left, he said to Shen Fengho, "The Abyss Demon's strength is a bit stronger than expected. If the Marquis has no way to deal with it, then we'll think of a way to lure it out of the city and then quickly retreat." Shen Fengho was stunned. "What do you mean? You think we can't deal with it?" From the current situation, Chu Tian knit his brows as he looked at the giant hole. It's hard to say. The 3 marquises couldn't deal with a trivial abyss demon. If the 3 marquises couldn't deal with it, then what use could Chu Tian do? Chu Tian solemnly said to Shen Fengho, "I asked the Marquis to remember what I said. If we can't deal with it, we'll lure it to the east." Everyone prepared to charge. Shangwan Feichin charged at the front while the others all rode their storm horses. Over 1,000 blue horses were like a furious wave, wildly charging down the hill. "Everyone charge with me." Jiang Shan led a group of cavalrymen and charged towards the right side of White Jade City from the hillside. 2 groups of cavalrymen that were brimming with explosive power rushed down from the withered yellow and dusky ground and immediately fought with the wandering monsters outside White Jade City. There were thousands of Abyss Demon soldiers roaming the plains outside the city. The Abyss Demon soldiers were once demonized citizens of the city. At this moment, they were all black like they were being roasted. Their eyes were sunken in and their mouths were wide open, with green flames flowing out of their orifices. They had already lost their consciousness, only having a brutal and murderous instinct. When the cavalry charged down like a flood, the ground shook. The Abyss Demon soldiers gave wild beast-like roars and moved at a speed that normal people could not imagine. Looking from the sky, it was like a sea of green flames, quickly gathering from all directions, colliding with the blue cavalry. When they were around 50-80 meters apart, the green warhorses gathered their strength, and a large wave of light green wind blades, like a wave, instantly whistled towards this group of monsters. The ground was instantly cut full of holes, and countless Abyss Demon soldiers were mercilessly dismembered. The blue cavalry brandished their spears as they charged forward. Horse hooves like a tide, 1,000 cavalry spear. The cavalry used the hill to increase their speed to 400 kilometers per hour. These elite cavalry were trained and did not have weak cultivation bases. Under this high-speed charge, with a single thrust of their spears, even a low-level awakened soul cultivator's protective spirit energy could be pierced through. These normal citizens that had been corroded by the abyss energy, even if they were not inferior to the elite soldiers, they were still suppressed without any suspense. It was a frontal charge of flesh and metal. The cavalrymen roared past. The sky was covered in black demon blood, and the ground was covered in charred limbs. After a long charge, the originally densely packed Abyss Demon soldiers instantly fell to the ground, and the ground was dyed black by demon blood. The elite cavalry of the southern summer country was truly sharp. This was a completely one-sided slaughter. Chapter 217. The Abyss Demon soldiers were monsters formed from human cultivators being demonized by the power of the Abyss. Although the demonization process increased their battle power by several times, the strengthening was limited. In front of the elite cavalry of southern Xia, they were as weak as paper. The 1,000 cavalry directly pierced through the Abyss Demon soldiers. After running for several dozen miles, they pulled away from the Abyss Demon soldiers and began to slow down. "Turn around. Continue charging." Shangwan Feichin waved a long brush. The tip of the brush was as sharp as a spear, and it was covered in black demonic blood. The horses were also covered in a layer of black blood. The storm cavalry had just turned their horses around. Countless Abyss Demon soldiers gathered in front of them. Looking from above, they looked like thousands of bloodthirsty ants, forming a flood that charged at their prey. A portion of the demon soldiers that had been demonized had appeared. The scorched black skin of these demon soldiers was even tougher and thicker, like a layer of natural keratinized armor. The joints of their elbows had mutated, and their entire forelimbs were like pitch-black sharp knives. Regardless of whether it was their speed or ferocity, they were much stronger than normal demon soldiers. Countless demon soldiers were like monkeys, swiftly and nimbly surging out of the collapsed city walls. Cruel, bloodthirsty, and hysterical madness, it made people shudder. The storm cavalry's hooves did not scare them. Instead, it made them even more ferocious. These demonized beings were not much different from the undead. They did not have any fear. Not to mention human cavalry. Even if a giant dragon blocked their way, they would still charge forward without hesitation. Kill, kill, kill. Kill them all for me. Shangwan Feichin charged forward again. The blue stream slammed into the black tide, and flesh and metal clashed again. The Azure Gale Colts released a wave of wind blades that destroyed the strongest demon soldiers at the front, greatly reducing their momentum. Following that, the elite cavalry charged forward, once again displaying their powerful battle power. Wherever their spears passed, the demon soldiers would be torn apart one by one. Wherever the valiant Azure Gale Colts stepped, the MO soldiers were crushed into mud and buried into the ground. The second wave of slaughter was completed. Although the demon soldiers were increasing in number, the cavalry's morale was rising. Because they had killed many demon soldiers in 2 waves, the storm cavalry did not have any casualties. These guys only looked scary on the outside. They didn't have any intelligence, and they didn't have any battle tactics. They were just a bunch of mobs. Charge again. Kill again. We have to attract the attention of these monsters and last until the 3 Marquises destroy the Demon Stone. Shangwan Feichin led his cavalry to charge out of the encirclement using the flat terrain, once again pulling away from the demon soldiers and turning around. Everyone prepared to charge, and then charged at the black mass of demon soldiers. The third round of harvesting began. This time, something unexpected happened. When everyone was halfway through killing, a unique MO soldier suddenly charged out of the countless MO soldiers. It was taller than an ordinary demonified person, and its body was very bloated. Its scorched black skin was full of cracks, and green flames surged from the cracks, blooming with a very bright light. There was a surge of power that was on the verge of bursting out of his frail skin and exploding out of his body. Die! A cavalryman charged forward and pierced through the demon soldier with his spear, instantly sending him flying more than 10 meters away. Just as the knight skillfully shook his spear and was about to throw the impaled demon weapon away. Pa! 2 large hands covered in cracks suddenly gripped the spear shaft. This cavalryman had a very bad feeling. What is going on? He didn't even have time to think before his entire body was covered in a green light. The cracks on the demon soldier's body suddenly exploded. Countless green flames spilled out, instantly devouring several cavalrymen and blowing them away along with their horses. Only charred black pieces were left on the ground. Not even their corpses could be found. Everyone was shocked. There were casualties. There were demon soldiers that could self-destruct. Figures of light charged out from the city walls. They were all large, and their bodies were covered in cracks, with flames flowing out of them. There were over 1,000 of them, and they were all demon soldiers that could self-destruct. This is bad. How could they fight this? These demon soldiers would explode with a single touch. They were the bane of cavalrymen. Other than the self-destructing demon soldiers, there were other demon soldiers that they had never seen before. If the demon soldiers outside the city walls looked like humans, then the new demon soldiers that came out had completely turned into demons. Their skin was completely gone, and their bodies were covered in green flames. They had 2 horns on their heads, and their eyes revealed a cruel glow. There was a demon that threw out a flame javelin. The cavalrymen did not have a chance to block it, and were hit by the flame javelin. They fell from their horses and were trampled to pieces by the horses behind them. There were even long-range attacks now. Like this, the 1,000 cavalrymen could not deal with them all. Just the large group of self-destructing demon soldiers was enough to make them suffer. What should they do now? There are more and more enemies. We've already been surrounded. Once we lose the cavalry's advantage, we'll be in danger. So we need to think of a way to break through. Shangwan Feichen loudly shouted and then pointed at the dense group of self-destructing demon soldiers. We can't fight these fellows head-on. Chu Tian, I order you to lead them away. Everyone had already seen the might of the self-destructing demon flame soldiers. Early awakened soul cultivators could not withstand an explosion at all, and even an intermediate awakened soul cultivator would be killed if they were surrounded by a large group of self-destructing demon flame soldiers. In this large group of demon flame soldiers, there were at least 1,000 of them, and their numbers kept increasing. Even a true soul expert like Chun Bingyu would die, without a doubt, if she was trapped in this group. Shangwan Feichen had actually ordered Chu Tian to lead them away. Wasn't this clearly sending Chu Tian to his death? Nan Gongyan was the first to object. Why aren't you leading them away? You clearly know that the self-destructing demon soldiers are dangerous, but you're still sending others to their deaths. Yin Yao was also very angry at Shangwan Feichen's order. What are your intentions? Shangwan Feichen angrily said, I am the cavalry's captain, and orders are like mountains in the army. Since you dare disobey orders, I have the right to kill you just based on this. Fuck, you want to kill me? Nan Gongyan angrily chased after him. Since I'm going to die, I'll just beat you up first. Nan Gongyan had a gunpowder keg personality, and other than Chu Tian, she would not submit to anyone else. This arrogant Western Marquis successor had provoked him several times, but Chu Tian did not bother with him. Now he was sending Chu Tian to his death. Fuck, if he could endure this, then wouldn't he be treating the Central State people as cowards? You. He did not even dare to say a single word. Nan Gongyan chased in front of Shangwan Feichen, and the giant hammer was covered in red runes. It suddenly released a power that could melt steel as it slammed down at Shangwan Feichen. Nan Gongyan was in the illustrious soul realm and had a monstrous strength. If she really hit Shangwan Feichen, even if he did not die, he would still be knocked off his horse. He would still die without a doubt if he was surrounded by the demon soldiers. Everyone was filled with shock. Was this girl crazy? She would actually kill the Western Marquis successor in a fit of rage. How could the Western Marquis successor be a normal person? Shangwan Feichen was stronger than Shangwan Ming. He drew a few strange runes in the air with a long pen, and then the runes exploded like a spiderweb. It instantly turned into a shield made of runes. It was as thin as a cicada's wing, but the light it released gave people a strong feeling. Hong! The hammer directly shattered it. Shangwan Ming's expression fell. This girl has such terrifying strength. The giant burning hammer fell down, and Shangwan Feichen used his pen as a spear. It was a good thing that the light shield had weakened the power of the giant shield, so it was able to block Nan Gongyan's hammer. Die! The tip of the brush released several drops of inky energy. This was not ink, but rather the Shangwan family's secret technique that condensed spirit energy into liquid form. Each drop was enough to pierce through metal, and even an illustrious soul realm cultivator's protective spirit energy would be instantly torn apart. Pung pung pung. Several crisp sounds rang out. Nan Gongyan's protective starlight was shattered by the drops of ink, creating many small cracks, but it did not shatter. Shangwan Feichen's expression fell. This defensive cultivation technique was... Could it be that Chu Tian and the people by Chu Tian's side had all learned this cultivation technique? Nan Gongyan gave a disdainful laugh. The Western Marquis successor is only this strong. Watch my hammer. She was about to smash down with the hammer again. Shangwan Feichen was filled with rage. You really think I don't dare kill you? Die. Nan Gongyan, stop. Chu Tian shouted. Now is not the time to make a move. There were demon flame soldiers all around them, and over 1,000 cavalry soldiers were surrounded. So how could they have time to fight? Breaking out of the encirclement is more important. Attacking the captain. This is a crime worthy of death. Shangwan Feichen's face turned pale. The only chance to redeem yourself is to draw away the self-exploding demonic blade. Shangwan Feichen had only exchanged blows with Nangong Yin for an instant, but he could feel the other side's strength. Even if he could defeat Nangong Yin, he would have to pay a large price. Damn, a trivial branch of the Nangong family actually had this kind of strength. There were more and more demon flame soldiers in front of them, and the cavalry's charge was weakening. The self-exploding demon flame soldiers were catching up, and the situation was very dangerous. Once the self-exploding demon flame soldiers got close, it would be a disaster for them. I've given such a good chance to make a contribution to Chu Tian. How could I not appreciate it? Chu Tian turned around and shouted to Nangong Yun's group of 3. Come with me, we'll draw away the self-exploding demon flame soldiers. He agreed so easily. Shangwan Feichen could not have asked for more. It would be best if these fellows were surrounded by the demon flame soldiers. Chu Tian raised the netherworld sword high up. With such a great mare in front of us, it would be a waste if we don't accept it. Charge with me. Saying this, he left the group and charged at the densely packed demon flame soldiers. Nangong Yun, Feng Kai Dai, and Yun Yao were stunned. He really did not want his life, but they trusted Chu Tian and followed behind Chu Tian without any hesitation. They couldn't care less. They would risk it all. They rode their horses into the middle of the self-exploding demon flame soldiers. Chapter 218. The speed of these self-destructing demon flame soldiers was extremely fast. They were not much slower than cavalry when they ran at full speed. Using self-destruct to release energy to attack made these monsters even more frightening. Even if a true Soul Realm expert was surrounded by them, they would still die. Chu Tian left the cavalry without any hesitation. Raising his sword and riding his horse, he charged into the midst of the self-destructing demon flame soldiers. Those ugly monsters with bloated bodies and cracked bodies were like a raging sea. They were like bloodthirsty beasts that had found their prey, angrily roaring as they surrounded the 4 of them. The expressions of Nangong Yun and the others all changed. Chu Tian raised the netherworld sword, and a sword chi flew out, cutting a self-destructing soldier in half. The torn body immediately blossomed with light, and vigorous energy was about to be released, turning into a giant energy fireball that kept expanding and exploding. At this critical moment, a little white fox jumped out and sucked in the energy. The green fireball seemed to be attracted and turned into 2 streams that were swallowed into the little fox's stomach. The flames released by the self-destructing demon flame soldiers, other than burning themselves to ashes, did not cause any harm to them. Nangong Yun, Feng Kai Dai, and Yun Yao were suddenly enlightened. It was no wonder that Chu Tian was not afraid. The little fox could control the self-destructing demon flame soldiers. As long as the energy released by the self-destructing demon flame soldiers reached a certain density, the little fox could instantly absorb it and reduce the energy to below the point of explosion. Then the self-destruction would be natural. The demon flame soldiers burned themselves to ashes, but they could not harm Chu Tian's group at all. Little fox, good job. Nangong Yun's confidence increased. Kill all of these monsters. Yun Yao used her cultivation at the 5th awakened soul layer to control the thunder spirit bead. Lightning was released from it, hitting several demon flame soldiers with each strike. Feng Kai Dai released the wind and cloud sword song, and countless sword chi surrounded the 4 of them, forming a protective circle. The demon flame soldiers were fast and had strong destructive power, but their bodies were very weak. They had no defense at all and could be destroyed with a single attack. The little fox absorbed all the energy, making all the nearby demon flame soldiers lose their ability to self-destruct. The 4 of them passed through over 1,000 self-destructing demon flame soldiers as easily as a sharp fruit knife cutting through a watermelon. Everywhere they passed, the self-destructing demon flame soldiers fell to the ground, and large amounts of flames spewed out from their bodies, igniting their bodies and the surroundings. In an instant, a long sea of death was formed, which blocked the other types of demon flame soldiers. Continue. Chu Tian led a few people around and killed a small portion of the demon flame soldiers. At this time, Shangwan Feichen's cavalry had already disappeared from sight. There are more and more demon soldiers around us. We're about to be surrounded. Of course I know. Chu Tian could not stay here any longer. Otherwise, with the strength of the four of them, they would not be able to defend against so many demon flame soldiers. Follow me, let's kill our way out. The four of them rode towards the east of Bayou City. In truth, Chu Tian was not following Shangwan Feichen's orders. The reason why he had agreed to stall the demon flame soldiers was so that he could leave the cavalry. That way, he would have more time to prepare. The three marquises had been watching the battle from a distant hill. The 3,000 storm cavalry did not move, so they could see the situation around Bayou City. The Golden Arrow Marquis' successor, Jiang Shan, moved around the right side of the city, naturally encountering large amounts of self-destructing demon flame soldiers. However, Jiang Shan had received the Golden Arrow Marquis teachings, and his archery skills had reached perfection. Even on horseback, he could still kill enemies 1,000 meters away with a single arrow. Jiang Shan's source spirit was a white jade arrow. When he pulled the bowstring, spirit energy was released from his fingertips, instantly forming a white jade spirit energy arrow that shot out at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. With Jiang Shan continuously pulling the bowstring, the white jade arrows continued to shoot out. There was not a single arrow that missed, as they all hit their targets. When a large group of self-destructing demon flame soldiers charged out, Jiang Shan tightly gripped the horse's back and loudly shouted, "Prepare the arrow array." After that, Jiang Shan suddenly pulled out a shining golden arrow from the quiver of the warhorse. The arrow was covered with complex and esoteric runes. He had always used the power of his original spirit to make arrows, and this was the first time he used a real arrow. Meteor, arrow rain. Jiang Shan pulled the bow and shot it into the sky. With a shio sound, the golden arrow exploded in the sky like fireworks. Several hundred arrows of light fell down like a meteor shower, and quite a few of the self-destructing demon soldiers were hit, causing them to explode on the spot. Jiang Shan was leading a group of cavalry that was mostly made up of Thunder State's storm cavalry. Most of the Thunder State cavalry were equipped with bows and arrows, so another wave of arrows was released to supplement the attack. Although there were some fish that escaped the net that caused some casualties, it was still considered smooth. Shun Fengho nodded and praised. The Golden Arrow Marquis' successor has the style of the Golden Arrow Marquis. The Golden Arrow Marquis laughed. This brat's innate talent is very high. If he is sent to the battlefield for a few years, I think his achievements will be far above mine. At this time, the Western Marquis knit his brows. Feichen is in trouble. The three of them looked over at the same time. Shangwan Feichen's group was surrounded by at least 20,000 demon flame soldiers, and their current situation was not good. However, at this time, several people suddenly left the group and charged into the large group of self-destructing demon flame soldiers. Shin Fengho was shocked. It's Chu Tian's group. What were these people doing? Did they not know that this was very dangerous? What made everyone dumbfounded was that Chu Tian's 3 mounts charged in and out of the exploding demon flame soldiers, but not a single demon flame soldier managed to explode. It was like they were being suppressed by some kind of power. The 4 of them had blocked over 1,000 dangerous demon flame soldiers. At this time, Shangwan Feichen had already led the other cavalry out of the demon flame soldiers' encirclement. The Golden Arrow Marquis gave a loud laugh. Chu Tian's group has saved the lives of the entire army and destroyed all these demon flame soldiers. This is a great merit. The Western Marquis gave an unhappy snort. Most of the demon flame soldiers have been attracted by the two sides, so it's time for us to charge into the city. It's about time. The Golden Arrow Marquis looked at the center of the city, at the burning crater. Let's make our move. The low sound of a horn to charge rang out from the hillside. The 3,000 cavalry finally moved out. This elite troop of cavalrymen neatly formed into a charging formation. Accompanied by the sound of the horn, they rushed down from the hillside and arrived in front of Bayou City in a grandiose manner. The demon flame soldiers had already been thrown into chaos by the two vanguards. When they realized that there was an even larger team charging in, how could they have time to resist? The cavalry led by the three marquises easily tore through the demon flame soldiers' barrier. The golden arrow marquis pulled his bowstring, and a thick spirit energy condensed into a golden arrow. It was a normal-sized spirit energy arrow, but when it was released, it quickly grew in size, creating a strong wind. Wherever it went, the demon flame soldiers would be torn to pieces. When the arrow hit the city wall, it instantly grew to a length of 7 to 8 meters. It was as thick as a person's waist. Shockingly, it was a super huge arrow. As if it was a piece of paper, it easily pierced through the dilapidated city wall of Bayou City, forcefully opening up a path that led straight into the city. The Southern Summer 8 marquises really were not ordinary people. The golden arrow marquis had pierced through the city walls with a single arrow. Kill your way in. When the golden arrow marquis created a hole in the city walls, the cavalry were like a flood pouring in through this hole. Although cavalry could not display their battle strength in a city, the Azure Storm Colts were not normal horses. As long as there was a street, there was enough space for them to charge in. Scatter! The golden arrow marquis waved his hand. An entire cavalry team split into several small teams that quickly filled the streets. They quickly cut through the demon flame soldiers in the city, buying more time to destroy the demon stone. The three marquises had to preserve their spirit energy and destroy the demon stone that contained the evil energy, so they did not make a move. They led the several hundred storm cavalry through the main street of White Jade City, charging into the center of the city like lightning. They finally saw the giant meteorite crater. Such a strong, evil aura. The cavalry almost could not control their horses. There was a very evil and hot energy that was being released from the center of the crater. Even with the cultivation of the three marquises, they felt uncomfortable as green sparks floated around them. We've found the demon's stone. The negative energy here is too strong. We can't stay here for long. Otherwise, the soldiers and horses will be in danger of being demonized. The three marquises flew into the air and landed on the edge of the giant crater. This giant crater was 1,000 meters wide, and it was right in the center of the city. The shockwave it created had destroyed half of the city, so it could be imagined just how terrifying the demon stone was. Right now, the entire crater was covered in green flames. The flames condensed and didn't dissipate. They were like green crystals that sealed the entire crater. From the bewitching amber, crystal-like flames, not only did they exude a thick, evil aura, but they also released a powerful life energy, rising and falling, inhaling and exhaling. It was like a mother giving birth to life. The demon stone, slumbering in the crater, was greedily and madly absorbing the life energy. The aura it exuded was constantly growing. Chu Tian's prediction was not wrong at all. The monster was becoming stronger. If they followed the calm martial ruler's original plan, they would first control the disaster area and then slowly and steadily shrink the encirclement. At that time, they would be able to reduce the casualties, but it was unknown how strong the demon would become. The earth gradually began to shake and tremble. A strong and fierce consciousness was slowly awakening from its slumber. It seems like it has already sensed our existence. Shun Fengho had never seen this kind of creature before. This is the Abyss Demon that Chu Tian mentioned. Abyss World, a place that could give birth to this kind of life. What kind of place was it? There's no time. Our casualties are becoming more and more serious. The Storm Cavalry was the most elite cavalry of southern Xia, with each state having 2,000–3,000 of them. It was not easy to train them, so it would be a pity if they were all killed here. The Golden Arrow Marquis roared, directly attacked. Chapter 219. He made the first move. Shun Fengho released a hurricane into the air. With a wave of his hands, a terrifying strength was released without reservation. For blue tornadoes condensed in the air and appeared around the divine wind marquis. With a powerful aura, it suddenly closed in on the crater. At this moment, the entire world seemed to change. Storm Source Spirit. Shun Feng Ho had a storm as his source spirit, so he could control the storm as he pleased. Shun Feng Ho raised his hand to summon a storm. In terms of attack range, momentum, and fierceness, he was the head of the 8 Marquises. The only flaw was that because it was too strong, it consumed energy at a shocking speed. Shun Feng Ho could not fight for a long time. So, no matter what kind of attack he faced, he had to use all his strength to end the battle as quickly as possible. The condensed green flames were extracted by a powerful force and were being carried into the air by the tornadoes at an extremely fast speed. There were originally 4 greenish-black tornadoes, but in the blink of an eye, they turned into 4 flaming tornadoes. The strange green abyssal flames released intense light, illuminating the dark world. Go! The 4 violent tornadoes gathered together and actually condensed into an even larger super tornado. Countless green abyssal flames were driven by the tornado and suddenly turned into an earth-shattering wave that slammed down on a large group of demon soldiers in front of it. In an instant, a giant scar was formed on the ground. Several hundred demon soldiers were disintegrated by the green abyss flames. Not even ashes could be found. The Western Marquis and the Divine Arrow Marquis were secretly shocked. Shun Feng Ho had lived in seclusion in Central State for many years, and it seemed like he had become stronger than before. With a casual move, he could take away a portion of the energy in the crater, so this was a good chance to destroy the Demon Stone. Mind's eye open. The Golden Arrow Marquis used his mind's eye to lock onto the Demon Stone and shot an arrow from his golden bow. This green abyss flame was very strange, being 100 times more tyrannical than normal flames. Normal flames had a gradual process of burning things, but the green abyss flame contained a strong destructive might. When an object was surrounded by the green abyss flame, it would first be torn apart before being swallowed. For example, if a piece of steel fell into it, steel would not gradually melt from the outside to the inside. It would first be torn apart by a powerful force, crushed into powder from the inside out, and then completely incinerated in the process. When the arrow shot into the crater, it immediately began to tremble. Of course, the Golden Arrow Marquis could not be underestimated. The arrow quickly spun, and a powerful energy dispersed the surroundings, creating a path through it, instantly hitting the Demon Stone in the crater. Caca. Countless cracks appeared on the surface of the dark green Demon Stone. It's effective. The Western Marquis, Shang Wanhong's eyes lit up when he saw this. Shoot another arrow and shatter the Demon Stone. When the Golden Arrow Marquis was prepared to draw his bow, the ground began to tremble. A terrifying energy fluctuation came from the center of the crater, and a wave of green flames spread in all directions. Wherever the green abyssal flames spread, everything, be it stone, wood, or soil, was disintegrated and then burned to ashes. What a strong force! Shun Feng Ho's expression changed. Be careful. Let me. The Western Marquis, Shang Wanhong, condensed his spirit energy on his long spear. The sharp tip of the spear instantly softened, as if it was covered in a layer of ink. He drew a giant arc in the air. The green abyssal flame that had erupted was pulled in by a strong force and was completely sucked into the arc, being sealed by the Western Marquis energy. The Shangwan family's secret technique? Ink prison. Shang Wanhong had drawn a barrier that could absorb energy. Not only could it absorb any energy attack, it could also compress the energy and reflect it back. This was a very powerful secret technique. At this moment, the endless green abyssal flame condensed, turning into a large ball that was covered in a layer of black ink. With the Western Marquis releasing his energy, the large ball became the size of a fist. The energy was condensed to its limit, and perhaps because the energy was too dense, the surrounding air began to distort. The Western Marquis used his spirit energy to roar, "Bounce it back for me." The black ball of energy seemed to be incomparably heavy. With his spirit energy, it did not directly fly out, only being pushed back a few meters before stopping. There was a tyrannical energy that continued to corrode the ink prison's barrier. Cracks began to appear, and it released a dazzling glow. The black ball of energy slowly turned dark green. Not only did it quickly increase in size, there were many bumps on the surface, just like a large irregular tumor. What was going on? Shangwan Hong could not suppress this energy and could not help panicking. The ball of energy became larger and larger, and the cracks began to increase. The clear and melodious sound of shattering was like the sound of glass cracking, but it was much sharper, and there were waves of vigorous energy fluctuations being emitted from it, causing one's heart to palpitate. "This is bad," Shen Fengho loudly shouted. "Quickly retreat." Shen Fengho's hands turned into long wind whips that instantly wrapped around the golden arrow marquee and the western marquee. Hong! A terrifying explosion rang out. The green abyssal flame that Shangwan Hong had sealed in the barrier exploded once again, creating a large hole in the ground. The surrounding rocks were turned to dust and finally turned to ashes. A dark green flame soared into the sky. Just like a giant mushroom, it suddenly bloomed in the sky above White Jade City. The three marquises were hit by the shockwave and fell into the ruins, with blood flowing from the corners of their mouths. Roar, roar, roar. An angry and wild roar came from the crater at this time. Suddenly, another huge green pillar of fire soared into the sky. This power was 10 times stronger than the previous one. It was like a pillar that supported the heavens. It instantly pierced into the low clouds, and the sky seemed to be ignited, reflecting a glossy green color. "This is bad." The expressions of the three marquises fell. The demon's strength was stronger than they had imagined, and it was not just a little bit stronger, it was not something they could fight against. This demon's strength far surpassed the awakened soul realm. The Southern Summer 8 marquises were only at the peak 9th awakened soul layer. If they met an existence above the awakened soul realm, only the three rulers would be able to fight against them. Not to mention the might and strength this demon displayed. It was several times stronger than the three rulers. CSI, when the oppressive aura burst forth. Whether it was inside or outside the city, the horses of the cavalry were all shocked and began to wildly jump. The cavalry troops all collapsed, and the entire city fell into chaos. A sharp sound came from the flame clouds in the sky. "Be careful. Meteor rain." After the pillar of flames soared into the sky, countless giant rocks were thrown into the sky. After the giant rocks were touched by the green abyss flames, they wildly fell down in all directions like rain. The several dozen cavalry soldiers were charging forward. They suddenly felt the ground turn green. When the cavalry all looked up, they all revealed looks of horror. A giant burning rock with a diameter of 3 meters was falling in the middle of them. The horses had already lost control. They could not dodge at all. Dong! The ground violently trembled, and a large burning hole appeared. The cavalry did not have time to escape before they were killed. Following that, a monster made of green flames stood up from the center of the hole. Its body was made of flames, and there was not a trace of corpse on it. It instantly charged at a nearby cavalry soldier, igniting the man and his horse, turning them into charcoal. Large amounts of burning rocks continued to fall in all directions. A flame demon would crawl out from every place the boulder hit. The flaming demon did not have a physical body, so it was useless against weapons. It was an elemental life form that could float in the air and change its shape, turning every part of its body into a weapon. This monster was too strong. Even an illustrious soul realm human would find it hard to fight against it. "Damn, we've lost control of the situation." Shen Fengho released a tornado that destroyed 3-4 flaming demons. However, when the tornado disappeared, the flames in the air that had not been extinguished gathered together again, turning into 2 flaming demons. He had only killed 1 or 2. This demon stone is still summoning demons. There are more and more of them. We have to destroy this demon stone. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. There were so many terrifying demons. Even the power of the 3 marquises could not destroy them. If they were to wreak havoc in Thunder State, it would truly be a calamity. Shun Fengho released 4 tornadoes that surrounded the 3 of them. All the green, flaming demons that tried to approach were sucked into the tornadoes and turned into countless pieces. The golden arrow Marquis drew his bow, wanting to find the demon stone. Only by destroying the demon stone would they have a chance of survival. In the end, they never thought that the demon stone in the crater would already disappear. It's above our heads. The 3 Marquises looked up at the same time. There was a giant, dark green demon stone that had appeared above their heads. It was clear that it had been sent into the sky by the pillar of flames. This demon stone was covered in cracks, but it was covered in flames. It was incomparably dazzling, just like a green sun. It was falling down at a terrifying speed. Retreat. The 3 Marquises used all their strength to retreat. The demon stone slammed into the ground, causing the entire ground to tremble. A large hole that was several dozen meters wide appeared in the ground, and green flames filled the sky. The surrounding ruins were all destroyed, leaving behind a large piece of empty ground. The 3 Marquises were affected by the flames. That power had caused quite a bit of damage to them. A monstrous aura burst forth for where the demon stone landed. The inside of the demon stone rumbled, and the entire dark green boulder kept changing shape. A body, a head, 2 arms, 2 legs. Finally, it stood up from the ground. When the 3 Marquises looked up with ashen faces, they were completely stunned. The giant stone had turned into a complete human shape, standing in front of them. It was very tall, being over 10 meters tall. The 3 of them were like pitiful insects under its feet. A monster they had never heard of before. Was this the true appearance of an abyss demon? The demon stone turned into a stone person covered in green flames. The interior was filled with dense flames, and the outer shell was made of dark green stone. Countless green flames flowed around its body, giving off a strong aura and a terrifying aura. It was something the 3 Marquises had never seen before. From the burning green flame giant, a wild spiritual wave was released. Lowly and weak existences from other planes. The green flame giant waved its arms, and the countless green abyss flames turned into thousands of flame blades that quickly shot out. Just a demon from another world. Don't be arrogant. The golden arrow Marquis shot out an arrow that instantly turned into a dense rain of arrows that fell onto the monster like a wild storm. Die! The Western Marquis, Shangguan Hong, also drew a seal filled with an aura of destruction that fell onto the green flame giant. Seal of Death. Wind and Cloud Sword Song. Shun Fengho summoned thousands of strands of sword chi and used the sword chi to form a giant arrow that slashed at the green flame giant's head. The 3 Marquises used all their strength to attack. The green flame giant's dark green stone outer shell was shattered and its giant body twisted. But very quickly, the shattered outer shell was restored, and it was completely unharmed. Too strong. We are not its match at all. The hearts of the 3 Marquises trembled. This monster was truly incredible. The green flame giant released a fierce, spiritual wave, as if it was laughing at these overconfident existences. Although its strength was far from being restored, it was more than enough to crush these small creatures. The Western Marquis no longer had any thoughts of resisting. Let's retreat. Otherwise, we're dead. The Golden Arrow Marquis had a look of unwillingness, but he did not have a better choice. We have to report this to the 3 rulers. We can't. Only Shun Fengho tightly clenched his fists. He thought of Chu Tian's words. This abyss demon has crossed planes and is currently in a heavily injured state. If it is given a bit more time to recover, the 3 rulers will not be its match. What use do we have? Staying here means death. The Western Marquis did not want to die in this place. Shun Fengho gritted his teeth. We have to at least lure it out of the city. The Golden Arrow Marquis was stunned. What do you mean? There's no time to explain. Shun Fengho shouted at the 2 of them. Move. We'll lure it out of the city. Chapter 220. While the 3 Marquises were fighting with the Abyss Demon, Chu Tian was already several dozen kilometers away from White Jade City. A wild aura suddenly exploded from White Jade City behind him, like a surging tide that swallowed the area. CSI. The warhorse instantly lost control and began to wildly run across the grass. After spending a lot of effort, they finally managed to control the warhorse. At the same time, a green pillar of fire shot into the sky from the direction of the city, covering most of the sky in green flames. Countless small meteors fell from the clouds. Even though they were very far away, they could still feel the tremors. The terrifying scene was very spectacular and shocking. Nangong Yin turned around and saw a large demon stone fly into the sky along with a pillar of fire before falling down in a certain direction. She shouted with her mouth wide open, "My God, what is that?" Dong! The earth shook again. A large and ancient evil power continued to grow. The three marquises were clearly fighting with an unimaginable monster. It can't be wrong. Chu Tian saw the demon stone fall and the rain of fire, and his eyes flashed with a strange light. He was already certain. This is an elemental abyss demon called Hellfire. It is a low to mid-level demon species in the abyss world. Low to mid-level demon? Yin Yao found it hard to imagine. How can a low to mid-level demon have this kind of strength? The life of the abyss world is not something a small country like this can imagine. Chu Tian paused here. The Hellfire demons have a very long lifespan and grow through devouring and plundering. If it was a Hellfire that had grown for tens of thousands of years, it could easily destroy all of southern Xia. Yin Yao asked, "How strong is this one?" Chu Tian looked in the direction of the city. "According to my estimates, it should be less than 1,000 years. Adding in the fact that it forcefully crossed the plane crack, it should be greatly injured. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have a chance to escape." Phone Katie's heart tightened, and she couldn't help worrying for her father. Then what should we do? The three marquises definitely can't beat this Hellfire, but they can hold on for a while and consume its strength. We need to hurry. After Chu Tian calmed the warhorse down, he immediately headed east. "You guys come with me." They advanced for a few minutes. A small basin appeared in his field of view, and a mature and beautiful black-clothed woman had been waiting for a long time. She held several long array flags in her hand, and each flag had a source energy array drawn on it. It seemed like some kind of energy was suppressed inside and could be released at any time. Isn't this Aunt Shun?" Nangong Yin was a little surprised. "Why are you here?" Chu Tian asked. "Have you buried the array flags?" Chun Bingyu nodded. "Everything has been arranged according to your request." Array flags, as the name suggested, were tools used to set up arrays. They would probably only be widely used in the next few thousand years. An array flag was to first seal a source energy array inside the flag. When it was time to use it, one only needed to insert the flag into the ground and release the power sealed in the array flag. The source energy array would be instantly released, saving them the trouble of arranging it at the last minute. Array flags were fast and convenient. They could be casually inserted into the flag, and the source energy array would not be restricted by the terrain or environment. However, most array flags and talismans were one-time use items. Chu Tian had made a total of 14 array flags. 4 large array flags were inserted into the 4 corners of the valley, and the other 10 small array flags were carried by Chun Bingyu. Chu Tian nodded. "All right, everyone prepare yourselves. We need to go all out. I hope this array will work." Yun Yao was skeptical. The abyss demon is this strong. Can an array have any effect? This array was made with divine blood, borrowing the power of a spiritual god to suppress the weakened abyss demon. I think it should be more than enough. Chu Tian looked at the sky-shaking city. After the Hellfire fights the 3 marquises, it will consume a large amount of energy. This will increase our chances of winning. Feng Kaidai asked, "This place is very far from White Jade City. How will we lure the demon over?" "There's no need to worry about that. I've already sent out bait." Bait? The 3 of them realized that the little fox that had been lying on the shoulder of the Chu family and was inseparable from Chu Tian had left at some point. Dong! Dong! The Hellfire demon's strength was too terrifying, creating a large hole in the ground with each attack. The three-continent army was completely defeated. Most of the cavalry had lost control and were killed by the demon soldiers and the flame demon. There were a few that were lucky enough to escape the city. Ink Seal. While the Hellfire demon was chasing the three marquises, it accidentally stepped on an ink-like substance. This ink-like substance instantly crawled over its body like ants, forming tadpole-like runes. The flames on Hellfire demon's body dimmed, as if it was being suppressed by sealing power. Frozen Arrow. The Golden Arrow Marquis took this chance to shoot several crystal blue lights that fell onto the Hellfire demon's giant body. A large amount of cold air was released along with the ice. Roar. The Hellfire demon exploded with a roar. The green flames around its body surged and the ice shattered. The black marks were all evaporated, as if it was not affected at all. Its right hand condensed a compressed flame, and it threw a giant fireball at the three of them. Hurricane Impact. Shen Fengho raised his hands, and a strong hurricane was released. The fireball ignited the hurricane, and the flames swallowed it. The three marquises were sent flying by the flames, and their injuries were becoming more serious. They did not have much spirit energy left. Even if the Abyss Demon was very weak, it still had strength surpassing the Awakened Soul Realm. Although its attacks were very strong, it still had most of its strength left. It was not something the three marquises could resist. Keep going. Shun Fengho's blue robe was already burnt, his arms were covered in blood, and his hair was scattered. It could be said that he was in an unprecedented sorry state, but he still did not give up. If they could not destroy the demon this time, Southern Xia would not only lose Thunder State. The Abyss Demon had intelligence. It was cruel, plundering, and killing, which was a large hidden danger. The Western Marquis and the Golden Arrow Marquis could not hold on any longer. Feng Yintian, what do you want to do? Shangguan Hong angrily reprimanded. This monster is too strong. Only the three rulers have a chance of winning. Retreat. The Golden Arrow Marquis also wanted to retreat. We can't make unnecessary sacrifices. Shun Fengho expressionlessly said, You leave first. I have to lure it out. After saying this, Shun Fengho flew into the air and sent several wind blades at the Hellfire Demon. The Hellfire Demon gave an angry roar. These weak existences were too hateful. Not only did they hinder its recovery, they were like flies that kept harassing it. Were all the existences this stupid? They knew that their attacks could not break its defenses and that it would be useless no matter how hard they tried, but they still kept harassing it. This was simply seeking death. Since you want to die, then I'll help you. As long as I swallow your strength, I will become even stronger. The Hellfire Demon exploded with an even stronger power, and a torrential storm of attacks came down like raindrops. We can't block it anymore. Retreat. The Western Marquis and the Golden Arrow Marquis decided to retreat. When Shin Fengho flew out of White Jade City, the Hellfire Demon chased after him. It ignored all obstacles and slammed into the city walls with its burning body. The east wall of White Jade City suddenly collapsed, and a large hole was created by the Hellfire Demon. The Hellfire Demon was like a piece of paper, not slowing down at all. Its spirit energy was almost used up. Shin Fengho had reached his limit. The Hellfire Demon was already in front of him. At this critical moment, a gray smoke suddenly appeared in front of him and turned into a cute little white fox. The little white fox jumped onto the Hellfire Demon's face and took a deep breath at the hellfire. The flames on the Hellfire Demon's body left its body and was sucked in by the little fox. It's Chu Tian's fox. Shen Fengho never thought that he would be saved by this little fox. The little white fox was like a perverted demon, suddenly kissing a young girl's face. How could the Hellfire Demon not be enraged? Pung! The Hellfire Demon spat out green abyss flames from its mouth. The fox's figure flashed and appeared behind the Hellfire Demon. It sucked in the Hellfire Demon's breath, and the flames on the Hellfire Demon dissipated a bit. Roar, roar! The Hellfire Demon was completely enraged. It gave up on Shen Fengho and used its entire body to attack the fox. Shen Fengho took this chance to fly away, quickly retreating. He sighed in his heart. I've already reached my limit. It's all up to you now. The hellfire demon's body was covered in flames that were several times stronger than before, turning into a flaming giant. The little fox had no way to stop and immediately wanted to turn around and run. The hellfire demon's intelligence was not high, but it knew that the little fox was trying to lure it away. It needed to recover its strength first. It did not have time to waste with this ant. When it was about to return to White Jade City, the little fox chased after it and sucked in another breath. The hellfire demon was filled with rage. This creature was not strong, but its ability to absorb energy made the hellfire demon's teeth itch with hatred. The little fox's absorption ability was not high, so it couldn't kill the hellfire demon with just this method. It was as annoying as a wasp, constantly coming to stab it. It was very annoying. All right, I'll kill you first. The hellfire demon gave up on chasing Shun Fengho's group of 3 and chased the little fox all over the mountain. The little fox brought the hellfire demon like this, crossing over 2 hills before finally stopping in a small valley. Actually, the little fox's continuous teleportation couldn't be used indefinitely. At this moment, it was already very tired. The hellfire demon could feel the little fox quickly becoming weaker. This annoying fellow could die now. The hellfire demon took a step forward and was about to stomp the little fox to death. Red beams of light shot out from all 4 directions of the small valley. 4 scarlet red beams shot out and landed on the center of the valley. These were 4 scarlet red arrays that overlapped onto the hellfire demon's body. Those scarlet red arrays were like ropes that bound the hellfire demon, immediately binding the hellfire demon in place. The flames on its body were like a bucket of cold water, instantly extinguishing. What was going on? The hellfire demon's body was incomparably heavy. Each movement was like 1,000 tons. Even walking became very difficult. This energy was not strong, but it was enough to suppress it, making it unable to resist. These damn beings from other planes. Chapter 2:21. Thunderstate City. Countless citizens have been waiting in fear for a long time, but now they received a piece of news that made them lose their courage. Tragic, tragic. The 3 marquises have been defeated. Thunderstate's storm cavalry have been completely wiped out. Thunderstate is finished. The demons are about to attack. Everyone, run for your lives. Even the Western Marquis successor, the Golden Arrow Marquis successor, the only daughter of Shun Fengho, and the geniuses of the 3 states have all been lost. A small group of heavily injured storm cavalry ran back. They were all covered in black smoke, and their flesh had been torn apart. It was simply a tragic sight. All of Thunderstate City had exploded. The demons are about to attack. Quickly run. Panic spread even faster than the plague. In just a few short hours, the entire Lijo city was filled with fear. Everyone brought their children with them and carried all of their belongings as they scrambled to escape. Thunderstate had never seen such a large number of people fleeing before. If everyone left Thunderstate City, wouldn't Thunderstate City become a dead city? This was the main city of a state. Thunderstate City's officials quickly sent soldiers to suppress them. The city gates were sealed, the streets were blocked, and the people within the city were unable to leave. The helpless citizens fell into an even deeper state of fear. Afterwards, the fear gradually turned into anger, and a rarely seen riot occurred within Lijo City. Fuck, you don't have the ability to protect Thunderstate City, yet you won't let us escape. Dying at the hands of the demons is death. Dying at your hands is also death. Why don't we just die? Countless angry citizens attacked the soldiers blocking the road. Thunderstate City was instantly turned into a mess. Countless houses were set on fire, and the soldiers were surrounded by the citizens, being beaten to death countless times. Mom, Mom. A girl with 2 braids was separated from her family and was sitting in the middle of the chaotic street, crying in panic. Thunderstate's calamity, Thunderstate's calamity. Who can save Thunderstate? An old man looked up at the smoky Thunderstate City and gave a few sorrowful cries. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Meng Yingying saved a few children and brought them to her side, but she saw more and more people falling to the ground. She had no way of stopping this and could only stare blankly at the shocking scene in front of her. Why was this happening? How could he lose? That was impossible. Lin Mu and Fong Han hurried over. "Second, miss, it's dangerous here. Let's retreat." "No, Chu Tian hasn't come back yet," Meng Yingying said firmly. "There's still hope." The two of them revealed helpless expressions. It wasn't that he didn't trust the boss. The problem was that the three marquises had failed. Thunder State City was in chaos, and more people were injured. Shun Fengho, the Four-Direction Marquis, and the Golden Arrow Marquis, the three marquises had finally returned. The three of them were in rags and covered in dirt. They looked like beggars and didn't have the elegant demeanor of a marquis. "Stop!" The Western Marquis flew into a rage. "Are you damn mobs rebelling? If we don't kill them, we won't be able to uphold the law." "Forget it." The Golden Arrow Marquis helplessly waved his hand. "It's not their fault. This Marquis is the protector of Thunder State and cannot protect them. It is my incompetence." The Golden Arrow Marquis directly announced, "Open the city gates and let the citizens escape." Shin Fengho also gave a heavy sigh. The countless bleeding soldiers were stunned by the Golden Arrow Marquis orders. Where did the invincible Golden Arrow Marquis of the past go? At this moment, there was only a heavily injured old soldier with broken armor and a charred body. If the Marquis was like this, what else could they do? What else could they do? Papa! The spears were thrown to the ground. Countless soldiers joined the ranks of the refugees, who wanted to escape from a place they had lived for generations, who was willing to live the life of a refugee. However, Thunder State was no longer safe. Other than escaping, they had no other choice. The three marquises were speechless as they looked at the chaotic Thunder State city. This was the first time they felt how small their strength was. Feichen did not come back. He most likely lost his way in the chaos. The Western Marquis knit his brows. "Damn, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come to Thunder State." Shun Fengho looked into the distance. Although it was not possible, he really hoped that this youth could create another miracle. Thunder State was one of the 8 states of the southern summer country. With the loss of Thunder State, the country's strength had been greatly reduced. Southern Xia was constantly threatened by the spirit beast from the north and was already in a dangerous situation. So how could they withstand such a large blow? No one knew. The main culprit of this disaster was already trapped in a small valley. The Hellfire Demon was born in the Abyss world, a chaotic space without any civilization. Killing and plundering were the only laws. When had it ever seen the methods of a life form from another world? Chu Tian, Yun Yao, Feng Kai Dai, and Nangong Yun each occupied a corner of the valley. Each person held an array flag. The flags projected a large array, imprinting it on the Hellfire Demon's body. This array was drawn with diluted divine blood, so although the array itself was not strong, it contained a weak spiritual god's power. The Hellfire Demon was suppressed by this power. It did not know how to deal with it, but its intuition told it that if it did not escape, it would be in great danger. Roar! The Hellfire Demon felt a strong sense of unease as it suddenly took a step forward. The Hellfire Demon was too strong, and Nangong Yun and the others felt a strong pulling force that could forcefully pull the array flag from their hands. "Hold on tight. We can't let go. Otherwise, we're dead." Chu Tian's feet were embedded in the ground as he grit his teeth and tightly held onto the array flag. The other 3 were bitterly resisting the Hellfire Demon, using all their strength. The Hellfire Demon had used too much of its strength to fight the 3 marquises and chase after the little fox, so it was hard for it to escape from the array. The Hellfire Demon gave a loud roar into the sky. Several green flame demons wandering nearby were summoned and immediately floated over to the valley. These green flame demons had battle strength close to the illustrious Soul Realm, so they could not be underestimated. "Don't be affected," Chu Tian loudly shouted. "This fellow is almost out of strength. We'll hold on for a bit longer." When the green flame demons were about to reach the valley, the little white fox charged in front of them and sucked away a large amount of energy from their bodies. Following that, A black figure fell from the sky, along with thousands of snowflakes. The green flame demons were hit by the countless snowflakes and were immediately destroyed. The Hellfire demon struggled several times, but it failed each time. Its strength became weaker and weaker. "It's about time," Chu Tian ordered. "Chen Bingyu, go." Chen Bingyu immediately took out a small flag and jumped into the valley. The Hellfire demon sent a fist at her, but its speed and power had been greatly reduced. Chen Bingyu easily dodged the attack and circled behind the Hellfire demon. She jumped up and stabbed the flag into the ground. The flames on the Hellfire demon's back were extinguished. With the small flag as the center, countless blood-red strands of energy instantly covered half of its back. It was like a mountain was pressing down on it. Dong! The Hellfire demon's giant body fell to the ground, and it struggled several times, but it couldn't stand up. Chen Bingyu took out a second small flag and was prepared to attack again. Who would have thought that the Hellfire demon's head would suddenly turn 180 degrees and the green flames turned into a fire arrow that shot at her? Chu Tian was shocked. "Be careful." Pung! The gray fog appeared. The little fox teleported in front of Chen Bingyu and swallowed the flames into its stomach. This time it became strong, and its little belly became round. "Good job," Chu Tian quickly ordered. "Stab into its knee." An array flag was stabbed into the Hellfire demon's knee. Suddenly, a large amount of blood-red energy covered its right leg. The Hellfire demon kneeled on the ground, as if it couldn't stand up. The four of them felt relieved. The Hellfire demon didn't have the strength to continue resisting the array. Shoulder. Chen Bingyu stabbed a flag into her right shoulder, and a large amount of blood-red energy wrapped around her arm, making her arm lose its strength. Every flag had its own array formation. These arrays were made with the power of a spiritual god. The Hellfire demon's power was suppressed, and it couldn't resist anymore. Not to mention this Hellfire demon that wasn't strong. Even if it was a 10,000-year-old Hellfire demon or a 100,000-year-old Hellfire demon, it was no different from an ant in front of a spiritual god. "It can't hold on. Let's work harder." Under Chu Tian's orders, several array flags were inserted into the Hellfire demon's body. The Hellfire demon's body was covered in blood-red veins, and it had completely lost its demon power. There was only a dark green shell that was releasing smoke, but it couldn't even burn a trace of green abyss flames. "I soul palm." Chen Bingyu sent out a palm. The dark green shell did not move at all. This thing was very sturdy. Chu Tian shouted, "You can't break the shell, so don't worry about its shell." The Hellfire demon has a demon heart inside its body. It's the demon's lifeline. Destroy it. Chen Bingyu looked through the dark green shell. In the center of the Hellfire demon's body, there was a heart beating in a certain rhythm, slowly sending energy to its body. "Don't kill me." The Hellfire demon released a spiritual wave. "I'll be your servant." Nangong Yin and Feng Kai-Dai were shocked. With the Hellfire demon's strength, if it recovered its peak strength, it would be above the three rulers. If it could be used by humans, it would be a strong helper. "You think I'll believe an abyss demon?" Chu Tian gave a cold laugh. "Not moving at all, do it." Chen Bingyu released a large amount of Snowflake source spirit, condensing it into an incomparably large icicle that pierced through the demon's heart filled with life energy. "No!" The Hellfire demon gave a pitiful cry. The rock shell began to collapse like a building block losing its support, instantly turning into a pile of rubble. Dead. This incomparably hard to deal with monster that even the three Marquises couldn't deal with had died under Chu Tian's array. Although they had killed the Hellfire demon, the four of them were exhausted. Even Chen Bingyu had used up all of her spirit energy, losing all of her battle strength. "It's dead. We've won. We've actually won. Father would be proud of us if he knew." Nangong Yun, Feng Kai-Dai, and Yun Yao excitedly cheered. Although it was only a support, the incomparably strong Hellfire demon had been killed by their hands. No matter who it was, they would be incomparably proud. The little fox licked its claws and shook its furry tail. Its two sparkling eyes stared at the Hellfire demon's corpse. Its eyes suddenly flashed. The little fox spat out a small wooden man and used its two little claws to hold the wooden man. It jumped onto the hellfire demon's corpse and forcefully shook the wooden man. A purple thing floated out of the hellfire demon's body. Nangongyan asked in a surprised voice, "What is this little thing doing?" Chapter 222. Soul Puppet. Chu Tian recognized the thing in the little fox's hand. This was a very precious treasure that could replace a physical body and become a vessel for a soul. After the little fox used the soul puppet to absorb the hellfire demon's soul, the normal soul puppet had turned into a miniature version of the hellfire. The little fox gently blew on the puppet. The hellfire's soul was thrown out, and there was a flash of light as it landed on the ground. It suddenly turned into a physical form, and a miniature version of the hellfire appeared in front of them. This summoned hellfire was around 20 feet tall, which was around a third of the size of the hellfire that was killed. Its strength was far from the original, but from the aura it released, it was quite strong. It could even fight against the southern summer 8 marquises. The most important thing was that this hellfire did not have a mind. It was completely controlled by the little fox. Feng Kai Dai, Nangong Yun, and Yun Yao were shocked. What kind of technique was this? It actually used the hellfire's soul to summon a new hellfire. The little fox cheered in excitement. It loudly chirped in excitement. The hellfire turned into a puppet and returned to the little fox's hand. It quickly swallowed it, as if it was afraid that someone would steal its treasure. Chu Tian rubbed his chin. This was a bit like the ancient demonic race's demonic technique. This little fox had followed father for so long. Did it finally awaken a bit of skill? Chu Tian asked. You hid it from me in the trial tower just to exchange for this puppet? The little fox proudly nodded, looking like it was the strongest. Then why didn't you tell me earlier? Chu Tian slammed his head down. Do you think I would steal this broken thing from you? The little fox revealed a look of disdain as it rubbed its head. Who knew? Actually, as the little fox grew up, it had slowly awakened some abilities in its memories, but it wasn't sure if it would be useful or not. The little fox had exchanged the soul puppet for an experiment, but it never thought it would be this easy to use. After obtaining the summoning ability, its battle strength had increased by a large amount. It could finally be a fox with its chest out. Chu Tian continued to say, a soul summoning technique. This seems like a demonic race technique. I never thought that this fellow would have a bit of skill after evolving. Since that was the case, why did he put away the hellfire? It's so cool to release this thing. The little fox waved a few times. The little fox's magic was limited. The soul puppet was a top-grade soul storage tool. However, it was best to extract the soul while the hellfire was still alive. This way, the soul would be fresh and energetic, and it could be used for a long time. When hellfire was killed, his soul was already in a state of dissipation. Even if the little fox was sucked in by the soul puppet, even if it couldn't be used, it could only last for 2 months. Every time it was summoned, it would weaken even faster. Once the soul was exhausted, it would be useless. The little fox could summon hellfire 3-4 times at most. Because it had only used it once in a short test, it only had 3 chances left. Other than that, maintaining the hellfire consumed a lot of the little fox's energy. How much would it need to eat to make up for it? So unless it was absolutely necessary, the little fox was not willing to use it. The price of this soul puppet was definitely not cheap, but from the looks of it, the little fox was quite reliable. At least with the soul puppet and the hell flame soul, it could release the battle strength of the 9th awakened soul layer. I won't bicker with you about the trial tower. Chu Tian fiercely said to the little fox. There won't be a next time. The little fox obediently nodded. Who knew what it was thinking in its heart? Nangong Yin stared at the stones on the ground and said, What do we do with these remains? Nonsense. These are precious materials from the abyss that have been burned by the abyss flame for thousands of years without being damaged. Of course, we have to bring them back. Everyone agreed on this point. How strong was Chunbingyu? Chunbingyu's full-strength palm could not damage it at all. From this, it could be seen how strong the hell fire demon's outer shell was. Other than that, this stone could cross spatial barriers without being destroyed, and it could be burned by the abyss flame all year round. This was enough to show its high temperature resistance and high strength. "These stones are just free gifts," Chu Tian mysteriously said. "The reason I didn't hesitate to come to Thunder State was mainly because of this Hell Fire Demon." The Hellfire Demon was not a rare demon in the Abyss world. There were countless demons that were stronger and more terrifying than it in the Abyss world. However, the Abyss world was a space that could not be explored by the beings of this era, so the beings of the Abyss could only come by luck. This Hellfire Demon's value was naturally very precious. The Hellfire Demon could bring Chu Tian some Abyss materials, but the things that interested Chu Tian the most were the Abyss Flame and the Demon's Heart. The Abyss world environment was very special. The Abyss was a chaotic world. It had the characteristics of when all living things were born. In the Abyss world's environment, there would often be natural treasures. There were even many beings that were born naturally and not born from their mothers. The Hellfire Demon was a very common innate being. This being did not have the ability to reproduce and could not split like the elemental race. They were born from a dense Abyss aura condensing to a certain degree and a special opportunity to create a fire seed. The innate fire seed contained a strong Abyss aura and finally began to have its own thoughts. It began to wander the Abyss world, and through swallowing energy ores, it continued to grow, turning into a flaming meteor that roamed the Abyss world. When a Hellfire Demon was killed, its thoughts and power would quickly disappear, but the fire seed would stubbornly survive. After a few years, it would form another Hellfire Demon. As for the Demon's Heart, it was the Abyss Demon's lifeline. The environment of the Abyss was very harsh. If demons wanted to survive and reproduce in such an environment, they had to desperately reduce their weaknesses. The vast majority of Abyss demons were very difficult to kill. Breaking their arms, legs, beheading, or even dismembering them to pieces was very difficult to effectively kill. The reason was very simple. Abyssals also had a special ability. They could condense their life force into a life core. All of their life force, soul, and spirit were gathered in this core. As long as the core wasn't destroyed, they could regrow a hand or a leg. Even if they were beheaded, they wouldn't die. This core was the demon's heart. When Chu Tian placed the inkstone fragments into the gourd, he found 4 or 5 pieces of the demon's heart. Chu Tian revealed a look of joy. This demon was not strong, but for Chu Tian at this stage, it was very useful. In addition, he also found a fist-sized green crystal that looked like amber. This was not a crystal stone, but rather a dense flame. This was the source of the Hellfire Demon's power, the Fire Seed. This Abyss Fire Seed was very strong and had a very dense Abyss energy. The most important thing was that the Abyss Hellfire's nature was very suitable for Chu Tian to cultivate the Netherworld Flame Sword. If he could swallow this flame, his sword art would reach the large success realm. Actually, when Shun Fengho had explained the situation in Thunder State, Chu Tian had already guessed the identity of the Abyss Demon. This fire seed was one of the main reasons why Chu Tian did not hesitate to take the risk to participate in this mission. The Netherworld Flame Sword he obtained from the 10,000 Corpse Ancient Tomb was an ancient sword art recorded in the Netherworld Sword. It was a remnant of an ancient sword art, but it was a very powerful sword art. During the cultivation process, Chu Tian had continuously improved it, and now it was several times stronger than the original sword art. The Netherworld Flame Sword was a bit similar to this Starlight Immortal Body. If he had enough materials, he could learn it quickly, but the materials were very hard to find. Chu Tian had finally found this chance. How could he be willing to give it up? This risk was worth it. Help me look around. Chu Tian pulled out the Netherworld Sword. I want to absorb this fire seed now. The Hellfire Demon was already dead, and the fire seed was quickly weakening. Chu Tian did not have time to bring the fire seed back to refine, so he directly refined it on the spot. Chu Tian placed the fire seed on the ground and looked at the ice blue blade. The Abyss Flame's quality is not inferior to the Netherworld Ghost Flame, it's even higher. Now let's see if he can take it or not. After saying this, Chu Tian stabbed the sword into the fire seed. A final cry came from the fire seed as the hellfire demon's last hope of revival was shattered. A strong energy was released and instantly swept in all directions. The green flame was absorbed from the fire seed and slowly flowed along the blade. Chu Tian could clearly feel the Netherworld sword's excitement and nervousness. It was excited because this energy was too delicious. If it could swallow this energy, the Netherworld sword would be able to recover most of its power and return to the level of soul-contracting weapon. The reason it was nervous was because this energy was not inferior to it. If it could not defeat the Abyss Flame, it would burn itself in the end. A blue and white flame was released. The two flames interweaved, pulling and swallowing each other, creating a very intense battle. In terms of quality, the Abyss Flame was not inferior to the Netherworld Flame. The Netherworld Ghost Flame had its own consciousness, so it could become the Netherworld Sword's weapon spirit. The Abyss Flame also had its own consciousness, so it could evolve into a strong Abyss Demon. Without a doubt, the Abyss Flame could exist on its own and could even cultivate into a demon. In terms of potential, it was stronger than the Netherworld Ghost Flame. But the Abyss Flame was in a weakened state, and the Netherworld Flame had the home field advantage, so it gradually suppressed the green flame and gained the upper hand. The Abyss Flame was slowly absorbed by the Netherworld Sword. However, although the Abyss Flame had a slim chance of winning, it did not give up. While the Netherworld Flame was absorbing the Abyss Flame, it was gradually affected by the Abyss aura and began to change in nature. The Netherworld Sword continued to tremble. After that, there was a strong energy that entered Chu Tian's body. When the Abyss Demon was absorbed by the Netherworld Sword, it produced a strong spiritual energy that was sent into Chu Tian's body. Chu Tian could clearly feel that this energy was very strong. It was even enough for Chu Tian to break through his bottleneck. Chu Tian revealed a look of joy. This spiritual energy was very pure, and it was enough for him to break through to the fourth awakened soul layer. This was natural. The Abyss Demon was very strong, so after Chu Tian absorbed its energy, breaking through a small bottleneck was not a problem at all. Chapter 223. With this large amount of spiritual energy accumulating in his body, Chu Tian could clearly feel that he was just one step away from breaking through the bottleneck. But in the wilderness, it was not a suitable place to break through. Chu Tian used a secret technique to seal the spiritual energy in his body. Since this energy could not run away, why was he in a rush? He pulled out the sword, and the fire seed shattered, turning it into a piece of ordinary stone. The Netherworld sword that was like 10,000-year-old ice was as smooth and cold as a mirror, but there was a faint layer of black chi around it that made the air slightly distort. This was the aura of the Abyss. When the sword absorbed the Abyss fire seed, not only did it recover its strength, its quality also seemed to change. When Chu Tian activated the sword art, a flame was released from the blade. The flame was still blue, but the color was even brighter. It was as thick as a flawless blue crystal. The blue burning sword chi shot out. Pung! A giant rock in front of him was split in half. The two giant rocks had blue flames that quickly grew. As it grew, the giant rock was swallowed by the flames and slowly turned to ashes. Finally, the entire giant rock was burnt to ashes. So powerful! Although the Netherworld flame had been nurtured in the Ghost King's body for countless years, so it had the ability to corrode materials, it did not have the ability to burn materials. Now it had completely changed. The flame was still a cold flame. It had almost no temperature, but it could still decompose materials, creating a stronger effect. If the previous Netherworld sword could be said to be a defensive cultivation technique, but the current Netherworld sword, not only could it ignite and burn spirit energy once it touched a material, it could also continuously cause damage. It was the nemesis of defensive equipment and weapons. Without a doubt, Chu Tian's sword was even stronger. The Abyss Green Flames tearing effect and the Netherworld Ghost Flames burning effect were both completely preserved, forming a new Abyss Netherworld Flame. Even Nan Gong Yun, who cultivated the Starlight immortal body, found it hard to block the Netherworld Sword's attack. Of course, it wasn't just that. The Netherworld Sword's weapon spirit had basically recovered. The weapon spirit had its own consciousness, and normal weapon spirits were refined from demon beast souls. The weapon spirit could increase the power of the weapon and could also protect the weapon. The Netherworld Sword's weapon spirit was an innate spirit flame. In a sense, it was a complete elemental life form, and not just a spirit body. Since it was a complete life form, it might be able to leave the weapon. Chu Tian thought of a secret summoning technique he had cultivated in the past. Why not give it a try? Elemental energy flowed endlessly into the sword, and a blue crystal-clear flame quickly flowed out. It was like a raging river that gathered in front of him. When a large amount of flame gathered together, it actually gradually formed the shape of a human body. It's the fire demon. Nan Gong Yun and the others cried out in surprise. The image of this blue flame was exactly the same as the little demon summoned by the Hellfire demon. The only difference was that the flame demon released by the sword flame was blue, and the flames that formed its body were different from the green flame demon. The little fox jumped in fright. Was he teasing this fox? This fox's sense of superiority had only formed a few minutes ago. How did Master learn how to summon as well? Master is so abnormal. How can this fox live? Nan Gong Yun was even more surprised and asked, "How can you summon monsters?" Strictly speaking, this is not a summoning. The little fox's summoning only needed a soul, and it could create something from nothing. This kind of ability was very rare and difficult. It was the technique of the ancient demonic races. Chu Tian's situation was different. Chu Tian did not have the ability to create something from nothing, and the Abyss Netherworld Flame had a consciousness, but did not have the ability to create a body. Chu Tian had used an elemental transformation technique to help it, so he could summon this flame demon in front of him. The flame demon's body was not very stable. It looked like a fierce-looking man, with its body covered in blue flames. There was a pair of horns on its head, and its body was covered in a demonic aura, just like an abyss demon. When the flame demon appeared, it first looked around in confusion. Then it walked in front of Chu Tian and released a spiritual wave. "My lord has released me. It can speak. It can speak." How can it speak? Everyone, including the little fox, was shocked. This demon, created from flames, could actually speak to people. Of course, elemental beings did not have organs, so they could not speak with their mouths. Rather, they used their spiritual energy to transmit their thoughts. Not bad. Chu Tian nodded in satisfaction. "From today onwards, you will be called Netherworld." The flame demon Netherworld respectfully said, "Yes, my lord." Chu Tian raised his sword and said, "Come back." The blue flame demon disintegrated and instantly returned to the Netherworld sword. Netherworld strength was at the 4th to 5th awakened soul layer. Other than its own strength, it was also directly related to Chu Tian. Because Netherworld wanted to appear in his demon form, he needed Chu Tian to use his secret technique. This adventure had ended. The Netherworld flame sword had reached the large success realm. His cultivation base had increased by a large amount, and he had gained a powerful helper. Netherworld's intelligence was not high, so it was a bit slow. However, not having a high intelligence had its own benefits. If his helper was as smart as the little fox, then Chu Tian would really want to cry. This Netherworld had a lot of room to grow and had a very high research value. In the future, it could leave the Netherworld sword and become an independent existence. Not bad. This harvest is very big. Of course your harvest is big, but we also put in quite a bit of effort. Nan Gongyan seized a chance to jeer. "How are you going to reward us?" "Reward? Of course I have to reward you. And I have to reward you." Chu Tian was in a very good mood at this moment. "What do you want? Just tell me, and I'll do my best to satisfy you." Nan Gongyan scratched her head. "Big sister Yun Yao, Kai Dai, Aunt Chun, what do you want?" The three of them had never thought of this problem before, so they helplessly shook their heads. Feng Kai Dai righteously said, "Getting rid of the great demon is our duty. We will be heavily rewarded by the calm martial ruler when we return. So how can we ask the great contributor Brother Chu for a reward? Look, what was called quality. Young Miss Feng was truly a well-educated beauty. She was not like that crazy girl Nan Gongyun. But Chu Tian was a righteous person, so of course he would not let them suffer a loss. So he heroically said, "You three are my people, so I'll give you a cultivation technique specially used by my people, Starlight Immortal Body. Are you satisfied?" Starlight Immortal Body. Yin Yao and Feng Kai Dai were stunned. Chen Bingyu's eyes opened wide. This serious beauty was so excited that she almost jumped up. She immediately grabbed onto Chu Tian's clothes. "I'll practice it." Chen Bingyu was a martial arts fanatic. Although she had been drooling over the Starlight Immortal Body for a long time, she was just too embarrassed to say it. Chu Tian took this chance to touch Chen Bingyu's smooth and cold little hand. "Beauty Chun, don't be so excited. With so many people watching, wouldn't it be bad? Those that don't know would think that you're trying to steal a handsome man in broad daylight." Chen Bingyu's face turned red, and she quickly let go. "I'm sorry. Relax. I'll give you a copy when I get back." Yin Yao and Feng Kai Dai were also very excited. This Starlight Immortal Body already had a certain reputation in Central State. It was the best defensive cultivation technique in Central State and even Southern Xia. Nan Gongyan stared at him and said, "What about me? I don't know what you need." Chu Tian was a bit embarrassed. He casually said, "If there's no other way, then I'll just have to lower myself and give you my young man's body." Nan Gongyun's face turned red. "Who cares about you?" Chu Tian said. "Then how about I help you learn the great Nirvana scripture? Deal." Nan Gongyun and Chu Tian reached an agreement. They really couldn't do anything to this crazy girl. Chu Tian was prepared to leave, but there was the sound of cavalry coming from the side of the mountain. About 200 to 300 storm cavalry quickly came over with Shangwan Feichen leading them. "Good Chu Tian, you actually dare become a deserter." Shangwan Feichen hadn't even arrived yet, but his sharp voice had already been heard. Yin Yao laughed and said, "What a joke. Don't you have eyes?" Chu Tian killed the demon. There were large amounts of green flames left in the little valley, but there were no signs of an intense battle. Even the stone on the hellfire had been taken away by Chu Tian. Just based on Yin Yao's words, Shangwan Feichen would believe her? Chu Tian could defeat the demon? This was simply nonsense. Shangwan Feichen said with a cold smile, "Not only did you become deserters, you even dare make such a ridiculous excuse. This is simply unforgivable." Nan Gongyan angrily shouted, "Do your eyes grow on your ass? Chu Tian killed the Abyss Demon and saved your father's life, yet you still dare to keep barking. Did you hear that?" Shangwan Feichen did not believe that these people could deal with the monster. He turned to the other cavalry and shouted, "These people are deserters and even made up a ridiculous excuse. We can't let them go today. Listen to my orders. Capture the deserters and execute the leader, Chu Tian." Why did these people leave the battlefield? Shangwan Feichen did not care. This was a good chance. Nan Gongyun was from the Nangong family. Although she was a branch family member, he still had to give her a bit of face. Feng Kai Dai was Shun Fengho's daughter, so he could not easily move against her. Yin Yao was from a large Central State family, and the Yun sect had a good reputation in Southern Xia, so he could let her go. Only Chu Tian had to be killed. This fellow had caused him to lose 2 of his arms, and had caused the Shangwan family to lose face. That black-clothed girl. Strange, why hadn't he seen her before? No matter what, he would just kill her at the same time. When Shangwan Feichen was about to charge forward with his cavalry, Shua, a snowflake landed on Shangwan Feichen's warhorse, instantly turning it into an ice sculpture. It exploded into pieces of flesh, and Shangwan Feichen was caught off guard and fell to the ground. Shangwan Feichen never would have thought that this black-clothed girl would have this kind of strength. Chen Bingyu's hands gently moved, and countless snowflakes fell down. A killing intent filled the world. She was about to start a massacre, with Chen Bingyu's true soul realm strength. If the cavalry had charged at her from the start, perhaps they would have been able to threaten Chen Bingyu. But now they could not deal with her at all. Just Chen Bingyu alone was enough to wipe them all out. Shangguan Feichin said in a shocked voice, Chu Tian, you dare send people to kill the kingdom's army. Do you want to commit treason? A deserter. A traitor. This fellow really knew how to take the blame. Chapter 2:24. Chun Bingyu normally did not make a sound. She was an aloof ice beauty, but her temper was even worse than Nangong Yan's. Moreover, she could kill without batting an eye. So once she made a move, she would start a massacre. Chu Tian stopped him. Stop. It was fine if Shangguan Feichin wanted to die, but he couldn't let the innocent cavalry die with him. Chu Tian always had his own principles. If he didn't want to kill someone, he wouldn't kill them. You've caused trouble for me over and over again, but it's understandable. Chu Tian had a helpless expression as he said to Shangguan Feichin, Who told me to be more handsome than you, have more talent than you, have more money than you, and even have more luck with women than you? If the two of us switch places, I think I would also want to kill you out of jealousy. Nangong Yin was speechless. This fellow's narcissism couldn't be cured. Shangguan Feichin's face turned livid. Do you think that with the protection of a true soul realm expert, you can live in peace in southern Xia? A true soul realm expert doesn't count for anything in the Shangguan family. He was using the family to threaten father again. This grandson only had this bit of skill. You're not convinced? Good. I'll give you a chance. We'll fight one-on-one. Chu Tian's words shocked everyone. I'll let everyone see what skills the Western Marquis successor has. A person at the peak of the triple awakened soul realm. He was going to challenge an expert at the 5th awakened soul layer. This 5th awakened soul layer expert was not a normal person. He was the Western Marquis successor. Not only were the people beside Chu Tian stunned, the several hundred cavalry were also deeply shocked. Chu Tian was using a trivial triple awakened soul realm cultivation to challenge Shangguan Feichin at the 5th awakened soul layer. Was there a chance of victory? The difference in strength was not a small one. Southern Xia's title was hereditary. The person who inherited the Marquis title had to be at least 30 years old and have a cultivation in the true soul realm. Shangguan Feichin was the noble Western Marquis successor and had been trained by the Western Marquis since he was young. Although he was only 25 or 26 years old, his strength surpassed the Western Marquis of the past, so inheriting the Western Marquis title was already in the bag. What was Chu Tian? Even if a person who was born as a wild cultivator had a few opportunities, how could he be a match for the prince? Nangong Yin had fought Shangguan Feichin once, and she could feel the Western Marquis successor's strength. With her 4th awakened soul layer immortal body, she could only block Shangguan Feichin's strength. No matter how strong Chu Tian was, he was only at the peak of the triple awakened soul. In terms of defense, he definitely could not compare to Nangong Yin. Could he really block Shangguan Feichin's strength? Shangguan Feichin was stunned. Chu Tian clearly had the upper hand, but he still made such a decision. But wasn't this exactly what he wanted? So be it. All of you back off. Chu Tian said to Chun Bingyu, No one is allowed to interfere. Do you hear me? Everyone knew about Chu Tian's character. The girls had no choice but to retreat. I really don't know whether to call you stupid or ignorant. Shangguan Feichin held a large pen and said with a cold smile on his face, Do you really think that you can fight against me just because you defeated Wei Long and Wu Yong? Those who overestimate themselves will not have a good ending. These words are more suitable for you. Chu Tian slowly raised the netherworld sword, and a crystal blue flame was slowly released from the blade. Those who overestimate themselves will not have a good ending. What a joke. I am the Western Marquis successor, a wild monkey that came from who knows where dares to challenge me. Shangguan Feichin felt deeply insulted. I want you to die. The giant pen waved. Wind killing array. The giant brush sprinkled out countless drops of spirit ink, which fell around Chu Tian like raindrops. They connected with each other and formed a large formation in the blink of an eye. In an instant, Chu Tian was trapped in the center, and the power of wind bound him to the ground. Dozens of green wind blades slashed over at an extremely fast speed. The Netherworld Sword's power was released, breaking through the binding. Chu Tian instantly disappeared, and a sharp sword glow tore through the array, stabbing at Shangwan Feichen. What kind of power was this? It was actually breaking through the array. Shangwan Feichen quickly blocked it with his pen, and blue sparks flew. Chu Tian attacked from another direction, and Shangwan Feichen casually swept out, blocking the sword glow. Chu Tian's attacks were all to no avail. Your sword art is only SOSO. Your speed is alright, but it's too weak. Break! Shangwan Feichen's pen suddenly stabbed out, accurately hitting Chu Tian's blade. He forced Chu Tian out and pushed it back several meters. The blade continued to tremble, clearly being hit by a strong force. The Western Marquis successor really did have some skills. Chu Tian had easily broken through his array. He had easily broken through Chu Tian's sword art. I want to know, after losing the sword in your hand, can you still use this kind of attack? Shangwan Feichen said with a face of ridicule. Take a look at your weapon. The Netherworld sword was as smooth as crystal, but it was covered in a layer of black energy. It was like a large amount of ink, and the energy continued to change into small tadpole-like runes, instantly forming a large sealing power. Chu Tian's hand sank. The Netherworld sword instantly became 1,000 times heavier, and he almost couldn't lift it up. How is it? Your sword has already been crippled. Shangwan Feichen said in a proud voice. This attack will cripple your sword, and the next attack will cripple you. It's just a small trick. Chu Tian released the Abyss Netherworld Flame and instantly melted the seal on the blade. Shangwan Feichen was shocked. It seems like you can't seal my sword. Chu Tian easily raised the sword and said to Shangwan Feichen, Take a look at your weapon. Shangwan Feichen was stunned. He looked down and his face fell. That hard as diamond pen actually had cracks on it, and there was a small flame left on it. What? This pen was a top-grade soul weapon, and it was actually damaged by Chu Tian. Damn! Shangwan Feichen flew into a rage out of shame. The pen danced in the air, and with a thrust of the pen, spirit ink flew out. Each drop turned into a seal that covered an area of 30 meters, finally forming a giant source energy array. The entire ground caved in from this giant force. Gravity seal. Chu Tian's body sank down like a small mountain was pressing down on him. Shangwan Feichen waved the pen again, and a large amount of ink exploded. The dense amount of ink shot out, and most of them turned into seals that howled out. Each seal contained a strong destructive might. Sword. The demon god's sword source spirit was released. The Netherworld sword glowed brightly. Chu Tian slashed out with a powerful sword chi, burning away all the seals that came at him. Finally, it turned into drops of ink that fell to the ground. These spirit inks did not disappear, but they began to flow together, turning into an incomparably large array. Ink shadow steps. Shangwan Feichen's speed reached its peak. Each time his foot touched the ground, he would land on a spot of ink. This was an exquisite movement technique that combined the user with the spirit array. Shangwan Feichen could instantly teleport to any spot of ink. His speed was very fast, and it was hard to catch, so he could instantly release a storm of attacks. He did not believe that Chu Tian could defend multiple spots at once. He had some skill, but to Chu Tian, this kind of technique was just child's play. Chu Tian's demon god's sword source spirit released a strong energy, and the Netherworld sword was inserted into the ground. A pillar of flame was released, and the spirit ink on the ground was instantly evaporated. At the same time, a raging flame slashed at Shangwan Feichen. Dang! Shangwan Feichen was sent flying. That top-grade soul tool-level long brush was actually directly cut into two. Everyone was stunned. A single slash had cut the Western Marquis successor's weapon. Did that weapon really reach the level of a soul-contracting weapon? Don't think that you can beat me with a good sword. I will let you understand that the difference in cultivation cannot be made up for with a single weapon. Shangwan Feichen let out a furious roar, and spirit energy surged out of his body, turning into a giant wave of spirit ink that surged into the sky like a giant wave, crashing down with an aura that seemed to be able to devour everything. Chu Tian raised his long sword high up. The flames from all directions were all gathered in the air, condensing on the tip of the sword. It formed a giant fireball that released a dazzling light like the sun. Die! Shangguan Feichen stepped on the wave, leaving arrays and runes everywhere he went. Chu Tian's sword slashed out and a blue ball of flames appeared. It instantly grew and turned into a giant ball of flames that slammed into the black wave of ink. Like water and fire colliding, they were in a deadlock for a while. Shangguan Feichen loudly roared, "I've won!" His confidence was justified. Chu Tian's attack was very strong, but it had almost used up all of Chu Tian's spirit energy. Shangguan Feichen had a deep cultivation base, so he still had most of his spirit energy left. Even if they were evenly matched, he still had a complete battle strength. So what if Chu Tian could resist for a short while? The final victor would still belong to Shangguan Feichen. When Shangguan Feichen thought that victory was in his grasp, an unexpected scene occurred. When the wave of ink and the fireball met, it was not a smile like he imagined, but rather a relationship of strength. The fireball contained a strong tearing force. No matter how many runes Shangguan Feichen condensed, the fireball would break them down and burn them, using them as fuel to strengthen itself. In just a short moment, over half of Shangguan Feichen's wave of ink had been burned away. The fireball was twice as large as before. What is this? Shangguan Feichen's eyes filled with fear. The fireball underwent a strange change. It instantly shrank, and 4 limbs came out, turning into a giant, flaming demon. Its eyes released a red glow, and its body was covered in blue and green flames. There was a pair of incomparably fierce demon horns on its head. This was not an illusion. Shangguan Feichen could clearly feel the demon's strength. It was not below his own. Chu Tian coldly ordered, "Kill him." "Yes, master." Netherworld's fist pierced through the wave of ink and landed on Shangguan Feichen. The abyss netherworld flame was released, swallowing Shangguan Feichen's body. Ah! Shangguan Feichen gave a pitiful cry as he was sent flying into the opposite hill. "What?" Chu Tian said with a taunting smile. "This is the strength of the Western Marquis successor." Shangguan Feichen wanted to escape in a sorry state. The flaming demon turned into countless streams of flames, instantly blocking Shangguan Feichen's path. Its palm was raised high and instantly expanded several times, turning into a giant arm that covered the sky as it slammed down at Shangguan Feichen. "Stop!" An arrow flew through the air. It instantly pierced through the flaming demon's arm, and a layer of ice energy covered the demon's body, causing Netherworld's movements to slow down. There was a group of cavalry coming from the distance. The one at the front was the Golden Arrow Marquis successor, Jiang Shan. The arrow just now was shot by him. Chu Tian narrowed his eyes in dissatisfaction. "Brother Jiang, you're meddling in other people's business." "Brother Chu, you can't kill him." Jiang Shan seemed like he had just gone through a bitter battle and was covered in injuries. Of the 1,000 cavalry, only 200-300 were left. "If you kill him, have you considered the Western Marquis revenge?" Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders. "I never wanted to kill him. I just wanted to cripple him." Jiang Shan was speechless. Wasn't this the same? Jiang Shan quickly tried to persuade him. "Give me some face. He is already heavily injured, so forget it." "All right then." Chu Tian looked at the half-dead Shangguan Feichen and said with a sigh, "I'll give you some face." Chapter 225. After several hours of chaos, Thunder State City's citizens lined up in a long line, dragging their wives and children as they fled. But with how large Thunder State City was, it was impossible for everyone to escape. The citizens that were leaving were mainly cultivators or merchants. If they didn't have money, then they had strength. Even if they left Thunder State City, they wouldn't be afraid of not having food to eat. Most of the low and middle class people had not left yet. Their ancestors had lived in Thunder State City, so how would they survive if they left? If they left Thunder State City, they would become rootless duckweed. If they left Thunder State City, their lives would be hard to continue. If they left Thunder State City, they would be homeless. Who would be willing to give up their stable life and embark on a dangerous and unknown journey? 300 years ago, Thunder State City was not inferior to Central State City. Just a few days ago, it was still bustling with people. A few days ago, it was still bustling with activity, not inferior to any other main city. How could such a great city suddenly fall in such a desolate state? But the outbreak of the disaster was just that sudden. The heavens blessed Thunder State. The heavens blessed Thunder State. Countless white-haired old men and children were kneeling on the streets, praying for Thunder State City. Even if they knew the chances were slim, they still hoped for a miracle. The Golden Arrow Marquis sat in the mayor's palace. Facing the prayers and cries of the entire city, he felt a deep sense of guilt. Thunder State had fallen into the abyss and could not be saved. They truly deserved to be the protectors of Thunder State. The calm martial ruler had underestimated the severity of the situation, but it was already too late. Even if the three rulers personally made a move, it would be too late. After all, the Abyss Demon was still growing stronger. Was Thunder State City really going to be destroyed? Marquis, a fully armored general, walked in and gave a loud shout. The 3 Thunder State defense camps have been gathered. We are willing to fight to the death. Please give your orders. The Golden Arrow Marquis was a little surprised. The camp hasn't collapsed. Thunder State's military spirit, the head of the 8 states. This general loudly shouted. In the face of a disaster, we soldiers should face it with our own bodies. How could we run away? This is what the Marquis has always taught me. We are willing to defend Thunder State City to the death, living and dying with Thunder State City. As long as the city stands, we will live. If the city falls, we will die. Good, good, good. The Golden Arrow Marquis gave a sigh. For me, Jiangxiong, to have this kind of army, my years in Thunder State have not been in vain. This Marquis will defend Lizhou City with you, and wait for reinforcements from Royal City. The Golden Arrow Marquis made his decision. Lizhou City could not be lost. If the abyssal demons were to attack Lizhou City, then they would have no choice but to sacrifice themselves. The Western Marquis and Shen Fengho walked in with ugly expressions on their faces. There are cavalry coming back, but Shangguan Feichen, Jiang Shan, and Chu Tian have not been found. The Golden Arrow Marquis' heart sank. He had yet to return. Could it be that something bad had happened to him? The Western Marquis Shangguan Hong said, Golden Arrow Marquis, I want you to send all of Thunder State soldiers to search the disaster area. You have to find that person for me. Search? How to search? White Jade City is surrounded by demon soldiers. Once the foot soldiers are trapped, it is equivalent to sending them to their deaths. That demon has also awakened, and even the most elite storm cavalry can't get close because their mounts can't withstand the demon's pressure at all. As for the rest, I'm afraid they won't be able to get close beyond 100 miles. The Western Marquis was enraged. Golden Arrow Marquis, you're burning the bridge after crossing the river. We came to save Thunder State, and now my son's life and death are unknown. So what are you doing? Are you worthy of us traveling tens of thousands of miles to save him? Please pay attention to your words. Could it be that the Western Marquis' successor is alive, but the lives of the soldiers are not? The lives of normal soldiers are cheap. So what if they die? At worst, Southern State will compensate you. Thunder State's army is protecting the millions of citizens in the city, not sacrificing their lives for a single successor. You have to understand that this Marquis successor is also missing. The Golden Arrow Marquis was already very sullen, and Shangguan Hong was filled with rage. The 2 marquises were about to erupt into conflict. Shen Fengho gave a sigh and prepared to mediate. Marquis, there's good news. A guard quickly ran in. Marquis, the successors have returned. How many have returned? Shen Fengho quickly asked. What about the others? Shen Fengho, you don't need to worry. The Central State geniuses have returned. They are all fine. The 3 marquises let out a sigh of relief when they heard this. Chu Tian and Jiang Shan rode into Thunder State City. Of the 3,000 cavalrymen that left the city, only 500 had returned. The rest of the cavalrymen were probably already dead. Meng Yingying excitedly ran over. Chu Tian, I knew you would be fine. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile to Meng Yingying. I'm sorry. I've made you worry. Che, I'm not worried about you at all. Meng Yingying shook her head. The thing that can counter you in this world hasn't been born yet. What does a trivial demon count for? This girl was truly heartless, but the one that understood Chu Tian the most was Meng Yingying. At this time, the three marquises quickly ran over. Feichen, what happened to you? The Western Marquis' successor was covered in injuries. He was tied to a horse and was on his last breath. Father, take revenge for me. Shangguan Feichen opened his eyes and saw his father. His handsome face had turned black and his skin was burnt. He immediately shouted out, that bastard Chu Tian wanted to be a deserter. I only chased after him to punish him, but I was ambushed by him. Daring to harm my son, I'll have you pay with your life. The Western Marquis killing intent exploded out like a tsunami. A long pen was about to stab at Chu Tian. Shun Fengho quickly blocked it and grabbed the Western Marquis long pen. The surrounding spectators were all stunned. The safe return of these people should have been a happy matter. But the Western Marquis wanted to personally take Chu Tian's life at this time. Feng Yin Tian, you dare block me. Shangguan Hong's eyes turned red as he roared. This Marquis' successor, his precious body has actually been heavily injured. Even you can't protect him today. That's right. Shangguan Hong had to kill Chu Tian no matter what. The Southern Summer 8 Marquises' killing intent was so strong that everyone couldn't help shrinking their necks. Deserter? What a joke. Chu Tian laughed and said, Are you talking about yourself? Running away when you meet an opponent you can't beat. Abandoning several thousand cavalry like this. What Southern Summer 8 Marquis? I'm ashamed for you. The Golden Arrow Marquis and Shunned Fengho revealed looks of embarrassment. This brat's mouth was not polite at all. Shangguan Hong's eyes turned red. You dare quibble. The situation had completely collapsed, and the three marquises were running for their lives. So of course the others had tried to escape. Were they supposed to just stay here and wait to be killed? So saying that the Western Marquis successor was chasing after Chu Tian as a deserter was not a valid reason at all. Jiang Shan rode his horse forward and said, Sir Western Marquis, I can prove that the successor made a move first. I don't dare. Whoever made a move first and dared to harm this Marquis' successor must die. Western Marquis, please calm your anger. The successor's injuries do not seem to be caused by Chu Tian's sword. The Golden Arrow Marquis was very dissatisfied with the Western Marquis' disregard for the lives of others. He asked Chu Tian with a serious expression, What is going on here? What is going on? See for yourself. Chu Tian took out the large gourd and slapped it. The Hellfire Demon's body was thrown onto the street, instantly taking up half the street. Meng Yingying's mouth fell open in shock. What is this? The Hellfire had been destroyed, but the jade-like dark green shell, as well as the incomparably powerful abyssal aura wrapped around it, could not be replicated. The three marquises had fought with the Hellfire Demon before, so they could recognize it with a single glance. This was the body left behind by the Hellfire Demon. The three marquises were stunned. Shun Fengho revealed a look of wild joy. This is the demon formed from the demon stone. You killed it. With these words, the surrounding citizens were all shocked. This was the main cause of the disaster in Thunder State. Chu Tian looked at the stone that countless people were waiting for and nodded. He loudly announced, The Abyss Demon is dead. Thunder State's danger has been resolved. The scene was filled with a deathly silence. What the hell was going on? The demon that the three marquises could not defeat. How could it be mysteriously killed? This news was too sudden and too shocking. No one was able to react in time. Are you all deaf? Meng Yingying excitedly clenched her fists. Was this unexpected? Not all. She had guessed it. Chu Tian had never disappointed her before. Even if it was something the three marquises could not deal with, as long as Chu Tian took action, he would definitely be able to deal with it. This was something without any suspense. But she was still very happy. Meng Yingying shouted for Chu Tian to everyone. The evil demon has been killed by Central State Chu Tian. From now on, Thunder State is safe. You are all safe. Everyone can go home. After saying this, Meng Yingying's eyes became slightly moist and her voice became a bit choked up. This was because personally seeing Thunder State City fall into chaos, the impact it had on her was too great. How many families were broken? How many people were hurt? Too many to count. Meng Yingying knew everyone's pain and helplessness. It was all good now. It was all good. There was no need to be afraid. The children could go home, and everyone would no longer have to leave their homes. The citizens of Thunder State City were speechless for a long time. Wasn't this the miracle they had been praying for? When the miracle appeared in front of them, they did not dare believe it. Was this real or not? Was this real or not? The Golden Arrow Marquis looked at the dark green stone body of the hell-fire demon in a daze. After being silent for a while, he walked in front of Chu Tian and bowed down to him in a very serious manner. You are Thunder State's benefactor? This marquee represents the tens of millions of people in Thunder State in thanking you. Everyone broke out in cheers. The Golden Arrow Marquis gave a definite answer. Long live, long live, long live Chu Tian, long live Thunder State. Central State's hero has saved my Thunder State. Countless citizens were sobbing silently. Benefactor, you have saved my family. Please accept my bow. A tall and large man kneeled down in front of Chu Tian. With him taking the lead, the others all kneeled down. Over 1,000 people kneeled down in front of the Central State people. Nangong Yun, Yin Yao, Chun Bingyu, Feng Kai Dai, and Yingying were all deeply moved when they saw this shocking scene. It really wasn't easy. When Xu Xinghe was at his peak, wherever he went, people would kneel down. However, people kneeled down because they feared his might, so they had no choice but to bow down. There had rarely been a scene like this in the southern summer 8 states where the entire city was kneeling down in gratitude. Their hearts were filled with excitement. It was hard to describe what they were feeling right now. There was joy, excitement, and even pride. If they followed their own growth path, they would never be able to do something like this in their entire lives. They had basked in Chu Tian's light and were honored to be able to participate. Being able to have such a glorious moment in their lives, what regrets did they have? Nangong Yin took this chance to shout. Chu Tian did not hesitate to take risks to help Thunder State, but there is a pair of evil father and son that wants to kill Chu Tian time and time again. What do you think we should do? Kill, kill, kill. Whoever dares to touch a single hair on Benefactor's head will become enemies with the citizens of Thunder State. Everyone shouted out with righteous indignation. There was even a voice that roared out, Shangguan Hong scram from Thunder State. Scram from Thunder State. Scram from Thunder State. Countless people began to wildly shout out. Shangguan Hong was one of the southern summer 8 marquises. The 8 marquises were no different from gods in the eyes of the common people. This kind of scene had never happened in southern Xia before. The Golden Arrow Marquis directly said, I think this matter is very clear. Chu Tian wanted to kill the demon, but the Western Marquis' successor chased after him and was heavily injured. I think this matter was brought about by the Western Marquis' successor. Chu Tian, not directly killing him, is already giving the Western Marquis enough face. If the Western Marquis still wants to deal with Chu Tian, then he will have to pass through this Jiang first. In this situation, the Western Marquis almost broke his teeth from gritting them, but he had no other choice. He could not take the risk to kill Chu Tian, and he could not stop the Golden Arrow Marquis and shun Fenghe. So he could only give up. With the cheers and praises of the countless citizens, the disaster of Thunder State had finally come to an end. Chapter 2:26. In the next few days, good news came one after another. After the Hellfire Demon was eliminated, the Abyss Demon soldiers became weaker. The Thunder State army was like a hot knife through butter, quickly eliminating them. Everyone completely believed it. This young man from Central State had miraculously killed the Hellfire Demon that even the three Marquises could not kill. No one could explain how this happened, but Chu Tian had done it. Chu Tian was completely famous. This name quickly spread across Thunder State, and he became the savior of Thunder State in the eyes of the tens of millions of people. Chu Tian's growth in Central State was also dug up, appearing in the newspapers of Thunder State and entering every household. He became the object of admiration and admiration for the people of Thunder State. Tens of millions of people recognized Chu Tian, and because of this, they recognized miracle commerce. A monstrous genius had appeared in southern Xia. Chu Tian looked at the Golden Arrow Marquis and said, "The danger of Thunder State has been solved, but the following problems have not been solved. The land that has been polluted by the Abyss aura will be hard to use for 100 years. The Golden Arrow Marquis gave a sigh. "This is something that can't be helped. I have two solutions. It all depends on how the Golden Arrow Marquis uses it. You can clean up the polluted land? Then quickly tell me." The Golden Arrow Marquis' biggest headache was dealing with the aftermath. Thunder State City's polluted land could not be planted with crops or herbs. Even survival was a problem. The demon beasts had been infected by the Abyss aura for a long time, so it was easy for them to mutate and become more aggressive. Who would have thought that Chu Tian would have a solution for this? Chu Tian had already prepared it on the way to Thunder State. He gave the Golden Arrow Marquis 2 scrolls that had detailed solutions written inside. The first is a purification plan that only requires a few common materials. Thunder State can purify the land and reduce the polluted area, saving a lot of fertile land. The second is not to clean up the polluted land. I've left behind a few special materials that can only be grown in soil that contains the Abyss aura. Because of this, they're very rare and precious. If we can use this in Thunder State, we can turn waste into treasure. This land that brought disaster to Thunder State will become a large source of income for Thunder State. Good. All right. The Golden Arrow Marquis excitedly bowed to Chu Tian again. "Mr. is a peerless genius. Why don't you stay in Lijiao? I am willing to let you be the lord of Lijiao City." City lord. Moreover, it was a main city. What a big piece of meat. I appreciate the Marquis's intentions, but Chu Tian's ambitions do not lie here. Chu Tian rejected the Golden Arrow Marquis invitation to stay in Thunder State. "My mission is complete, so I have to return to Central State. I asked the Marquises to quickly report back to Imperial City. It's Southern Xia's blessing to have such a genius in Zhongzhou. Men, go to the treasury and withdraw 200 million gold coins as a gift to Mr. Thunder Province is in a crisis, and there are many things that need to be done. I hope that Mr. will not think it is too little." The Golden Arrow Marquis did not want to fall out with Shan Fengho. Since Chu Tian did not agree, he would not force it. He immediately called his vice-general to fetch the gold coins, and then said, "When I report back to Imperial City, I will ask for the calm martial ruler's credit." 200 million gold coins was a large amount of money, but in terms of contribution, this reward was a bit too little. But it could be understood. Thunder State's business was not very developed, and now that they had suddenly encountered a disaster, money was needed everywhere. Taking out 200 million to give to Chu Tian was already their limit. Shan Fengho, the Golden Arrow Marquis, and the Western Marquis all left Thunder State to report back to Imperial City. Before Shan Fengho left, he gave the Central State cavalry to Chu Tian and had Chu Tian bring the rest of the troops back to Central State. Chu Tian did not stay in Thunder State for long, directly heading to Central State on a boat. "Sir Chu Tian, the giant shark gang's territory is right in front of us. Coming back this quickly, I don't know what those fellows are thinking. Come, let's go." Yin Yao said to Chu Tian, "Are you confident?" Chu Tian was filled with confidence. "There's no problem." When the warship slowly entered the windless area of the Four States Lake, it was immediately discovered by the giant shark gang. Not long after, a giant black tortoise slowly came over, and there were 2 people standing on top of it. One was a rough man with a sloppy beard, and the other was a tall and thin middle-aged man. These 2 were true Soul Realm experts, They were Old Fourth U and Old Fifth U. The giant shark gang's attitude changed 180 degrees. When the two of them saw the warship, they respectfully bowed. "We have been waiting for you for a long time. How is it?" Chu Tian crossed his arms as he stood on the deck. "Has the gang leader thought it over?" The gang leader has carefully considered it over the past few days and has decided to accept Mr. Chu Tian's suggestion. Old Fifth U's attitude was very humble and even had a trace of awe. He knew what Chu Tian had done in Thunder State, and he knew the power of the person in front of him. "We ask Mr. Chu Tian to enter the island with us." Chu Tian was not in a rush to agree. "What about my soldiers?" "We ask the Central State soldiers to enter the island." Old Fourth U was very clear that the giant shark gang would have to follow this young man in the future, so his attitude changed. The giant shark gang has prepared a banquet for everyone. Everyone felt that this was unbelievable. When Old Fifth U was captured by Shun Fengho several days ago, his attitude was filled with arrogance. Who would have thought that there would be such a large change in this short period of time? That Old Fourth U was also incomparably arrogant. But now he was like a completely different person. Even with Shun Fengho's abilities, he would not have been able to make such a large change to the fierce pirates. This was all part of Chu Tian's plan, and everything was going according to his plan. The giant shark gang occupying the Four States Lake was a scourge in the end. If they could turn bandits into citizens of Southern Summer and create value for Southern Summer, it would be a large merit. The gang leader is a smart person, then we'll just stay here for a bit. Chu Tian was not surprised at all. "Let's set sail. Before we go home, we'll go to the giant shark gang and have a feast." "Long live! Long live!" The Central State soldiers all began to shout out. Central State had sent out 1,000 elite cavalrymen, but only 300 of them had survived. It could be seen how tragic the situation was at that time. After these people returned to Central State, they would definitely receive a lot of support, and a promotion and salary increase would be a sure thing. This was all thanks to Chu Tian. If it wasn't for Chu Tian killing the Hellfire Demon, not to mention returning to Central State alive, even if they did, they would have returned in defeat. Returning in defeat was already good enough that they weren't punished. So how could they be rewarded? How could they not be grateful to Chu Tian? Under the escort of several giant turtles, the warship slowly entered the giant shark gang's archipelago. Several thousand giant shark gang members had already been waiting for a long time. When the Central State soldiers docked, all kinds of crabs, prawns, clams, and other delicacies were sent out, very enthusiastically rewarding the Central State soldiers. Over 1,000 giant shark gang elites were lined up in 2 neat rows. From the main entrance to the middle of the mountain, wherever Chu Tian went, the giant shark gang elites would bow down. This kind of grand formation was just a welcome. Ever since the giant shark gang was established, no outsider had ever received this kind of treatment. Chu Tian brought several core members and walked into the cave under the protection of countless giant shark gang elites. The 5 giant shark gang leaders spread out the banquet, and the group was immediately led to seats of honor. The giant shark gang's leader, Boss Yu, personally stood up and raised a bowl of wine. In a hoarse voice, he said, "This bowl of wine is to the Central State soldiers." The victory in Thunder State this time is truly a great merit. The other giant shark gang leaders also raised their cups of wine. Their eyes were filled with respect, especially towards Chu Tian. Nangong Yun and the others were very surprised. How did these fellows know about what happened in Thunder State? In such a short period of time, the news shouldn't have spread yet. The giant shark gang's old Yu was a fatty. He stood up and cupped his hands as he said, "I won't hide it from everyone. Actually, after you left, the giant shark gang sent our brothers to investigate the situation, so we already know what happened in Thunder State." When the news was sent back to the giant shark gang, all the giant shark gang members were shocked. Central State's target was a terrifying foreign demon. But what was the most unbelievable was that even the 3 Marquises working together could not defeat that demon. In the end, it was killed by Chu Tian in one fell swoop. There was no doubt about it. Chu Tian had done a great merit this time, so Imperial City would definitely reward him. Therefore, Chu Tian's career would soar. Adding in the fact that Chu Tian's method was effective, it could really break the curse that had plagued the Giant Shark Gang for over 20 years, allowing the Giant Shark Gang members to regain their freedom. The Giant Shark Gang had secretly sent people to inquire about Miracle Commerce, and now they knew that Miracle Commerce was a large company that was rapidly developing. So working for this company was very promising. Bossy no longer hesitated. This was a good opportunity that would never come again, so he had to firmly grasp it. Chu Tian laughed. You've made the right choice. In order to show Miracle Commerce's sincerity, I will also make a small gesture. Ying, call people to bring it up. After around 10 minutes, several large treasure chests were brought into the cave. Meng Ying waved her hand. Open it. When the large treasure chests were opened, countless golden coins appeared in front of them. The Giant Shark Gang members were all stunned. They had never seen this much money before. This is 100 million gold coins. Chu Tian maintained his rich appearance. I'll give it to the Giant Shark Gang's brothers in advance. As long as the Giant Shark Gang's brothers follow me, Chu Tian, there will be many opportunities to make money in the future. The Giant Shark Gang high-level members revealed excited expressions. This young master really was a god of wealth. He actually gave out 100 million gold coins without blinking. To the four great families, this 100 million gold coins was not a small amount. To these pirates who lived by plundering, this was a windfall from the heavens. Not only did Chu Tian have the ability and talent, he was also this rich and heroic. The most important thing was that he could remove the Giant Shark Gang's curse and restore the freedom of the 100,000 members of the Giant Shark Gang. The Giant Shark Gang could not think of any reason to reject him. Chapter 227. Boss, you asked, I want to know, after Miracle Commerce and the Giant Shark Gang work together, how will we cooperate? The Giant Shark Gang recognized Miracle Commerce's abilities and decided to cooperate with Miracle Commerce. But as for what kind of cooperation they would use, the Giant Shark Gang was still unclear about it. This was very important. They had to ask this clearly, otherwise how could they feel at ease? If Chu Tian sent the Giant Shark Gang to the battlefield as cannon fodder, who would Boss you find a reason with? Isn't the Giant Shark Gang tired of eating fish and prawns for 20 years? Chu Tian did not directly answer the Giant Shark Gang and just looked at the food being brought over. If it wasn't fish, it was prawns, and the wine was also very rare. You should change your tastes. How could they not be tired? The Giant Shark Gang was in the center of the Four States Lake, and other than fish and prawns, they couldn't find anything else. Most of the time, even salt and oil were rare. Ying, take out the rest of the canned food. Meng Ying found several canned food and quickly gave it to the Giant Shark Gang high-level members. The Giant Shark Gang members curiously opened the canned food and were surprised to find that it was demon beast meat. Chu Tian said with a smile, "This is a special food of Miracle Commerce. Everyone should try it before asking this question." The five leaders saw that Chu Tian did not answer their questions and couldn't help feeling a bit anxious, but they did not dare reject Chu Tian. When the Giant Shark Gang high-level members tasted the canned food, they were instantly filled with shock. The canned food's taste was indescribable, and it was made from demon beast meat and herbs. Not only could it fill one's stomach, it could also help a cultivator recover their strength. Eating it for a long time could even increase one's cultivation. This is a good thing. This was definitely a good thing. I think you should understand. Chu Tian slowly said, Miracle Commerce is a company, and a company needs to make money. This Miracle Commerce canned food is just one of our specialties. I think everyone can see the market for this. We have the technology and productivity, but we lack the sales channels and caravans. The Four States Lake is connected to the Four States. So, with Miracle Commerce's ability and the Giant Shark Gang's power, how could we not find a win-win cooperation? Chu Tian gave everyone a peace of mind. If Miracle Commerce continues to invest in the Giant Shark Gang, you will have the resources and money to expand. Chu Tian painted a beautiful picture for the Giant Shark Gang. The current Giant Shark Gang has enough manpower and strength. As long as we get rid of our current shackles, We can immediately create fleets and set up branches in various states, becoming a large mercenary and merchant gang. While the giant shark gang is growing, it will spread Miracle Commerce's influence everywhere. After Miracle Commerce earns more money, it will continue to invest in the giant shark gang. It's just that simple. The giant shark gang members excitedly clench their fists. Who doesn't want to make it big? To them, the gang was their career. If they could obtain the financial support of Miracle Commerce with the giant shark gang's strength and background, they would be able to create many branches, recruit new members, and increase their strength, becoming a true first-class gang in Southern Xia. Do you still have any doubts? No, we accept Miracle Commerce's cooperation plan. Bossy did not hesitate. The only thing this old man is worried about is the curse on the giant shark gang. If we are bound by the curse, it will be hard for the giant shark gang to act. I don't know how long it will take for us to return to normal and officially cooperate with Miracle Commerce. No rush, no rush. Chu Tian already guessed that Bossy would mention this matter, so he stood up and said, "First bring me to the ruins to have a look." The Yu family's 5 brothers were a group of mercenaries and a small power. Because they obtained a treasure map, they finally found the treasure described on the map in the 4 States Lake. This group of over 1,000 mercenaries was filled with excitement after obtaining the treasure. But who would have thought that they would be bound by a terrifying curse, making them stay in the 4 States Lake forever, never being able to live on land? In the past 20 years, the 5 brothers had established the giant shark gang and began to expand, finally reaching the current 100,000 members. Although they had become a first-class power in the southern summer country, they did not dare be too high-profile and could only become a group of robbers. Chu Tian was very interested in the ruins, so he decided to personally take a look. Of course, Bossy would not refuse, as he immediately brought Chu Tian into the ruins. This is the treasure in the ruins. This was a cave buried at the bottom of the lake. In the center, there was an ancient palace. When Chu Tian brought the others in, he saw that the floor, walls, and even the pillars were all made from a strange blue crystal. It was smooth and transparent, just like ice crystals. There are so many cultivation techniques on these walls. When the women walked in, they saw that the crystal-like walls of the Sword Dao were filled with ancient characters, as well as many auxiliary diagrams. Clearly, they were ancient cultivation techniques. Bossy walked over with his fishbone cane. This is a cultivation technique left behind by the ancient sea race. Normal humans cannot cultivate it. As for us, although we can cultivate it, it is very hard to decipher these words. There are over 80 cultivation techniques in the ruins, and we have only deciphered 8 of them, but it has already given us endless benefits. It was no wonder the giant shark gang could become a gang. These cultivation techniques were indeed not bad inheritances. Everyone had seen Old Fifth use battle strength, and he was much stronger than experts of the same level on the water. Chu Tian did not have a deep understanding of the sea race's cultivation techniques, but he could see that some of them were not bad. This isn't hard. Make a copy and bring it to Central State City. I'll find someone to decipher it for you. Bossy's heart shook. If they could decipher these cultivation techniques, the giant shark gang's strength would increase. The main hall was empty, with nothing of value. Perhaps it had been emptied by the 5 brothers 10-20 years ago. In the center of the main hall, there was an incomparably tall Murloc altar that was releasing a mysterious power. With the altar as the center, there was a hexagonal ancient well surrounding it. When everyone walked next to the ancient well, they could clearly feel an ancient power being released, as well as a very rich energy aura. This is the source of the giant shark gang's power. Bossy pointed at the ancient well and said, "After every sacrifice, the ancient well will release a strange spring water. The giant shark gang's abilities are obtained from drinking this strange spring water." Chu Tian walked to a well and observed it for a few minutes. Each well has the skeleton of a sea race expert sealed in it. This is a kind of burial for the sea race. The spring water that comes out of the well is actually formed from the sea race expert's bone marrow. Although it can quickly increase one's strength, it contains a curse power. If one is not a descendant of the sea race, they will be attacked by their bloodline. Bone marrow? Chu Tian thought of the ancient god spine he had obtained from the trial tower, so he should be able to extract the divine marrow from it. The bone marrow of the sea race's ancient creatures could change one's bloodline, so would the divine marrow have the same effect? This thought flashed in his mind. Chu Tian felt like he needed to study it. I'll bring some back to study. Chu Tian extracted some of the blue spring water from the bottom of the lake and said to Bossu, "How long have you been using this power for?" "An entire 24 years. At this point, Bossu slowly took off his mask, revealing a sinister and terrifying face. That face was covered in delicate fish scales. Coupled with his pale white hair, he looked like a terrifying monster. Because of the powerful backlash, I know the pain of the curse. Meng Yingying, Nangong Yun, and the others all sucked in a cold breath. God, this fellow is simply a monster. Chu Tian said with a sigh, "It's too late. I can help you remove the curse, but it will be hard for you to return to your original appearance. Like this, I'm satisfied." What was there to be dissatisfied about? If it continued to worsen, he would die in half a year, or even a year. I've already understood the situation. I didn't bring enough materials for this trip, so I can only help you remove the curse. I can't help the others for now. Chu Tian paused and said to Bossu, "Come with me to the Central State docks to sign the agreement. I will make a special potion for the spring water. At that time, you just need to pour the potion into the spring, and the spring water will no longer have any side effects." Chu Tian had to be careful. He wanted to remove the giant shark gang's curse, but he also wanted to preserve the giant shark gang's sea race bloodline. This was because only the giant shark gang with the sea race's power was the true giant shark gang, allowing them to work for Chu Tian. Otherwise, without the inheritance, how would the giant shark gang form a gang? Mr. has saved the giant shark gang, so you're the giant shark gang's benefactor. Bossu was filled with excitement. Chu Tian had saved the giant shark gang and was thinking for them, so how could he have any objections? Chu Tian did not waste any words and immediately used the rest of the divine blood to remove the curse from the giant shark gang's high-level members. The 5 leaders of the giant shark gang were free, and Chu Tian had given them a new lease of life. On the second day, the fleet set off again. In addition to the 5 warships in Central State, there were 4 more large ships. The 5 giant shark gang leaders and the main members of the giant shark gang, around 3,000 elites, were all heading to Central State. The giant shark gang's elites were very strong, with most of them being in the 8th or 9th body refinement layer. They also had a high percentage of awakened soul cultivators and were not weaker than the storm cavalry. Even in southern Xia, they were a very strong force, undefeatable in water battles. This was also the reason why Chu Tian valued the giant shark gang. This cooperation was a milestone for miracle commerce. With the giant shark gang's resources and influence, a fleet that covered southern Xia would be formed. Miracle commerce would build special docks and factories on all continents, using the waterways to spread their influence. The giant shark gang itself was very strong. As long as they could wash their name clean, they would immediately become a first-class sect. At least no one would dare provoke them on the water. If they could protect Miracle Commerce's waterways, it would become an important ship for Miracle Commerce. Other powers dare provoke me? All right, if you have the guts, then don't use boats anymore. Anyways, all the rivers and lakes in southern Xia will be taken care of by me, Chu Tian. In the early morning, the fleet arrived in Central State. Long live! Meng Yingying stood on the deck and looked at the Central State docks in the distance. She raised her hands and excitedly shouted, "We're finally back. Central State is still the best." Although Meng Yingying had not fought on the front lines, she had seen the disaster in Thunder State. This made Meng Yingying very emotional. The world was not peaceful. Even if one lived a normal life, they would not be able to stop a disaster from falling from the sky. So, she had to become stronger. With enough influence and strength, she could protect herself and the people around her. Meng Yingying realized the importance of strength and influence. She swore that she would become stronger and make Miracle Commerce stronger. Chapter 228. The ships all docked. The giant shark gang elites did not have their curses removed, so they could only stay at the Central State docks. It was not convenient for them to disembark, so Chu Tian brought the 5U family brothers into the city. The Central State Army's triumphant return naturally caused a stir in Central State. Although what happened in Thunder State had not reached Central State yet, with the return of these soldiers, the news would quickly spread. Chu Tian would be in the limelight again, and his image would rise to another level. After all, what the three marquises could not do was done by Chu Tian. Saving the citizens of Thunder State was a great merit. The changes in Central State City were very large. The city's main streets were all equipped with electric lights, and the public places were built with broadcasting towers. As long as one walked into the square or the busy commercial street, they would be able to hear beautiful music. All of this greatly enriched the lives of the Central State citizens. These were all changes brought by miracle commerce. Chu Tian was even more surprised that many Central State citizens had a strange black piece of equipment. It was around 1.5 feet long and weighed around 10 pounds. This piece of equipment released the sound of Miracle Commerce's broadcasting station. Is this a portable radio? This must be the young Miss masterpiece. The radios and phonographs Chu Tian made were large and heavy, so they couldn't be carried around. The young Miss, Meng Qingwu, had always wanted to improve them. Chu Tian had taken out a mechanical technique book from the trial tower, and the young Miss had personally translated it for Tong Xiaoyu. Then she had studied with Tong Xiaoyu how to change the size of the equipment. They had only been there for a week, and they had already made a finished product. This efficiency was not bad. The portable radio was 1/8 of the size of a normal radio. Although the signal reception was a bit weaker and the speaker was a bit weaker, it greatly increased the portability and made radios more popular. Chu Tian establishing a research institute was a very wise decision. He was only responsible for the core technology. As for testing and improving it, that was all for the research institute to do. This is Central State City. It's much more prosperous than 20 years ago. Boss Yu's 5 brothers stepped on the solid ground and walked on the streets of Central State City. The city gave them a strange feeling as if it was a lifetime ago, and there was a feeling of tears filling their eyes. Over 20 years. An entire 20 years. How many 20 years did a person have? This was the first time he swaggered through the streets of Central State City. Now that everything was finally over, a brand new life was about to begin. The 5 of them stood in front of the small castle-like headquarters of Miracle Commerce. They were once again shocked by the wealth of Miracle Commerce. This kind of sturdy and imposing headquarters was not something a normal person could possess. A beautiful woman in white came out to welcome him. Eldest Miss, Eldest Miss. Chu Tian walked into the Miracle Commerce headquarters and immediately shouted without any embarrassment. Long time no see. I really missed you to death. You seem to have gotten fatter. Meng Qingwu spat. I'm busy with the Chamber of Commerce and the Research Institute. How could I have gained weight? Don't talk nonsense. Really? Chu Tian stared at eldest Miss seriously, his eyes sweeping over her chest and buttocks. You've really gained weight. Ouch. Meng Yingying's little hand fiercely pinched Chu Tian, and then she threw herself at the young miss. Elder sister, Yingying also misses you. Is Thunder State still good? The people of Thunder State are too pitiful. I really don't know what to do when we meet this kind of disaster. Silly girl, don't say such inauspicious words. Meng Qingwu knew that her little sister was shocked, but she was also confused. Why did you come back so quickly? Hi, it wasn't a big matter. Sir Chu Tian, personally came out. How could it not be easy? How could Meng Qingwu not know this fellow's personality? Could the words he said be trusted? But it was good that it was solved, so there was no need to worry. When Meng Qingwu wanted to ask about the situation, she suddenly saw 5 people dressed strangely. These 5 are... You're talking about them? Chu Tian did not seem to care as he said. They were brought from the countryside and haven't seen much of the world, but they have a lot of brothers under them. They are prepared to work for Miracle Commerce and the young miss. Boss Yu and the others revealed awkward expressions. What did he mean by brought from the countryside? Who was this girl? Wasn't Chu Tian the head of Miracle Commerce? Why did he keep calling her the young miss? It was truly strange. What are you still staring at? Chu Tian pointed at Meng Qingwu. This great beauty is the vice chairman and the person in charge of Miracle Commerce. Whether the giant shark gang can do well in the future will depend on her support. Boss Yu and the others trembled as they quickly cupped their hands to Meng Qingwu. Greetings, Vice Chairman. Chu Tian continued to say, not only is the young Miss chest big, she's also very smart. Following her will not be a bad thing. If you keep acting like this, I'm going to get angry. Meng Qingwu's cheeks turned hot. Everyone, don't listen to his nonsense. This one is Meng Qingwu. I hope that Senior will take care of me. Chu Tian revealed an embarrassed smile. Boss Yu, didn't I tell you to copy the cultivation technique? Take it out for the young miss to see, and you'll know that I'm not lying. The young miss is a cultured person. Boss Yu revealed a look of joy and gave Second Old Yu a look. Second Old Yu placed the shark skin bag on the ground and took out a thick scroll. He respectfully placed it in front of Meng Qingwu. I asked the vice chairman to take a look. If you can decipher the contents, the giant shark gang will be filled with gratitude. Meng Qingwu could feel that these people were not normal. Not to mention that Chu Tian had personally brought them back to headquarters. How could they be ordinary people? She immediately opened the scroll and looked over it. She knit her brows and felt a slight pain in her head. The strange words suddenly became familiar, and Meng Qingwu read it in the sea race's language. Ah, you can really decipher it. The vice chairman is a true genius. The five brothers were filled with excitement. Nonsense. Don't you see that you're the vice chairman of Miracle Commerce? Chu Tian waved his hand at the five of them. Leave the cultivation technique here, and I'll give it to you after deciphering it. You can leave first. Nangong, Ying, bring them to see Miracle Commerce's invention, as well as take a look at the Yunsex Research Center in Qilin Hall. All right. Meng Ying and Nangong Yun brought the 5 family brothers away. The 5 brothers wanted to take a look around and personally see Miracle Commerce's abilities. After all, the giant shark gang would have to rely on Miracle Commerce for a long time, so they could take this chance to understand Miracle Commerce's potential and foundation. It would be good for their hearts to be prepared. Meng Qingwu rolled her eyes at him. With your skills, you can even decipher this cultivation technique, but you're giving this favor to me. It seems like these people are very important. Young Miss is too serious. I just find it troublesome. After Chu Tian said this, he suddenly stopped smiling. Has anything happened recently? Central State City is very calm, and the 3 great families have not shown any signs of making a move. When Meng Qingwu said this, her black brows slightly knit. But the more it is like this, the more uneasy my heart is. This is a good chance, but the 3 great families are still so calm. This means that they already have other plans. Perhaps they are preparing to make a big move. Other than that, I found a few clues. What is it? The elites of the 3 great families are being called back. Although it is very secretive, it was still discovered by me. They're calling back their elites. Perhaps they're preparing a storm. It's fine if they don't make a move this time, but once they do, it will be a life and death battle. The 3 great families did not have enough energy or patience to test Miracle Commerce's bottom line. They would definitely place their hopes on this last gamble. It's been hard on the young miss. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile and did not place it in his heart. They're secretly gathering their strength, and we are also steadily becoming stronger. The speed at which we grow will far surpass their imagination. Not to mention anything else. Just those 5 country bumpkins are enough to make the 3 great families suffer. It's best if they don't make a move, but if they do, we'll counterattack. Counterattack? Such big words. Miracle Commerce had developed to this point. Although it had become the 5th great power, it had the support of the Yun sect and Chu Tian's fame. It was even better than the 3 great families. But with the 3 great families working together, Miracle Commerce did not have the confidence to win. Chu Tian had just come back from Thunder State, and he had this kind of big words. Those 5 strange people, they were not simple at all. Chu Tian then asked, How is Miracle Commerce's development? Meng Qingwu seemed to be very familiar with the situation of the company's development. Everything was going smoothly now. Miracle Commerce had developed 23-dimensional manufacturing factories, and their current production had greatly increased. The South Sky City's production line was gradually being pushed to the side, and they were only beginning to develop into a battery manufacturing base. Central State had become the company's main production base. Our products will have an explosive growth, and the tin can food factories will be completed soon. We will be purchasing large amounts of demon beast meat and other ingredients, and we will be opening 5 more large restaurants in the city. Meng Qingwu was very excited because the company's development was too fast. Central State City is gradually becoming Miracle Commerce's industrial base. The newly established Yun Sect Research Facility is performing very well, and the pay-to-channel technology has already been completed. Meng Qingwu was also leading some new research. For example, the improvement of the radio and phonograph. Meng Qingwu invested 10 million gold coins and created a design department in the Yun sect. She hired several talented people with high salaries and made Tong Xiaoyu the head of the design department. The design department was not even completed yet. In just a few short days, the radio and phonograph had been successfully improved. Meng Qingwu was prepared to continue improving and combine the radio and phonograph into one. She had even thought of a name for the new product, the magnetic recording machine. She would make the radio and broadcast function appear on a portable device. Whether it was the radio or phonograph, the structure was not complicated. It mainly consisted of an outer shell, a magnetic sound stone, a source energy battery, and several source energy arrays. Because the structure was very simple, it was not hard to combine the two. Meng Qingwu believed that it would only take a few days to complete. Chu Tian nodded. Not bad. There's only one thing that is not going well. Meng Qingwu knit her brows and said, Even now, we still haven't bought all the materials needed to refine the sacred pill. What's going on? It must be the 3 great families obstructing us. They have more channels than us, and we can't buy these materials on the market, so we can only shelve the sacred pill. These fellows clearly don't want me to improve. At this time, Yin Yao rushed in. Have you heard? Chu Tian's head was filled with confusion. Heard what? Yin Yao said with a serious expression. The Chu family knows that you've returned to Central State City, so they have officially issued you a challenge. Oh, when? Tomorrow at noon. Meng Qingwu's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of anger. Did the Chu family not care about their last bit of integrity? On one side, they announced that Chu Xinghe would challenge Chu Tian, giving Chu Tian time to break through. On the other side, they did something behind the scenes, not giving Chu Tian a chance to refine the sacred pill. Now that Chu Xinghe had recovered from his injuries and Chu Tian had returned to the city, while Shin Fenghe was not there, they directly issued a challenge to Chu Tian. What will come will come. Help me pass the message. Chu Tian had a serious expression. I, Chu Tian, accept the challenge. Chapter 229. The Chu Family Headquarters. 800 Chu family swordsmen were standing in an orderly manner in the courtyard. He was wearing a dark red light leather armor and a black cloak. His left hand was holding a sword, and his right knee was on one knee. He wore a tight black mask, revealing only a pair of eyes that shone brightly. This was a team that was as sharp as a knife. In front of the 800 silent swordsmen stood a middle-aged man. He was the head of the Chu family, Chu Shanhe. Chu Shanhe looked at the 800 swordsmen in the courtyard and couldn't help but sigh. The 800 most elite people of the family were the foundation of the family. They were scattered all over the country, secretly protecting the family's businesses. However, in just a week, they had all been urgently called back by the family head. The Chu family had not made such a big move in the past few decades. This was an important operation that concerned the prosperity of the Chu family. A hale and hearty old man with a sharp gaze walked out. On his back was a treasured sword that reeked of blood. It was the great elder of the Chu family, Chu Shi. Is everyone here? Chu Shanhe cupped his hands towards Chu Shi, Miracle Commerce's Meng Qingwu's methods are not simple. It took a lot of effort to hide from her eyes, but now everyone is here. Chu Shi didn't care about Meng Qingwu. This woman has some ability in running the company, but that's all she can do. The stronger Chu Tian is, the stronger she is, and the stronger Miracle Commerce is. However, once we get rid of Chu Tian, Miracle Commerce won't be a problem, and she won't be a threat anymore. 800 Chu family elites had gathered to take drastic measures. Chu Shana frowned and said, "Are we really going to choose this time to have a decisive battle with Miracle Commerce?" The current Miracle Commerce isn't the same as before. Not only is its influence spreading quickly, but it also has the support of the people in the city. Because of this, we should make a move earlier. Miracle Commerce will become a power that we can't fight against sooner or later. We can't wait for that day to come. Therefore, we should take advantage of this chance to swallow up Miracle Commerce in one fell swoop. The family will once again grow stronger, otherwise we will completely sink. This is a life and death battle for the rise and fall of the Chu family. Chu Shana's expression turned solemn. Yes. Chu Shi's expression became more and more serious. Now is the best time. First, Shen Fengho would have to report to Wang Sheng, and Chu Tian would have one less powerful backer. Secondly, according to the urgent report from Thunder State, Chu Tian has made a great contribution in Thunder State. His reputation will definitely rise again. At that time, it will be even more difficult to make a move against him. We need to take advantage of this matter before it spreads. What? Did he do something great in Thunder Province? Chu Shanha was a bit stunned, but then he said with a bit of hesitation, "Like this, the calm martial ruler might reward Chu Tian. If we make a move against him now, wouldn't we offend the calm martial ruler? Even if he offended Shen Fengho, he could not offend the calm martial ruler. The three monarchs were not people that local clans could contend against." Chu Shi shook his head. "You don't need to worry about this. The reward has not been given yet, and I've been a retainer of the Dongfang family. As long as we bribe a few people from the Dongfang family, they will speak up for us in Wangqing. Not to mention that Chu Tian will die on the battlefield under Xinghe's sword. The calm martial ruler will definitely notice Xinghe's talent. With the calm martial ruler's personality, losing a Chu Tian is already unrecoverable. He will not lose another Chu Xinghe." Did this mean they still had to rely on Chu Xinghe to understand? At this time, a messenger from the Chu family quickly came to reporting to the family head and great elder. Miracle Commerce has officially responded. Chu Tian will accept the challenge tomorrow. Good. Too good. They had seen through Chu Tian's personality. This person truly had talent and potential, but he was too arrogant. Chu Tian straightforwardly accepted the challenge, so things naturally became much easier. Because the three great families had sealed off the materials, Chu Tian did not have enough money to buy the materials, so he could not refine a Saint Pill. If he did not have the help of the Saint Pill, he could not break through to the illustrious Soul Realm in this short period of time. If he fought with his Void Soul Realm strength, Chu Tian would not have any chance of winning. Chu Shi said, "Tell this news to Xinghe and take a look at his current situation. No need to trouble yourself. I already know." A cold voice came from the back courtyard. Following this, a power erupted like a volcano, suddenly coming from the room. Several hundred flying swords flew into the sky, shattering the roof. Just like a peacock spreading its tail, it suddenly bloomed. Countless swords interweaved together, forming the shape of a lotus. A young man filled with an unparalleled aura and sharpness was currently standing in the center of this lotus. A golden flood dragon surrounded him, releasing a strong might that illuminated the entire Chu family. Chu Xinghe. The Chu family members revealed looks of wild joy. Chu Xinghe had finally come out of seclusion. Chu Xinghe had completely recovered, and his aura became even sharper. The Chu family members were filled with excitement. That unparalleled heavenly sword young master had returned. Chu Shanhe and Chu Shi revealed looks of satisfaction. Not only had Chu Xinghe recovered from his injuries, he had also become even stronger. His cultivation had broken through the peak 4th awakened soul layer and reached the 5th awakened soul layer. Not only that, Chu Xinghe's Imperial Flood Dragon transformation art had also reached the perfection realm. The current Chu Xinghe was several times stronger than when he was in the trial tower. There was no doubt, if Chu Xinghe used his full strength, he would not be weaker than his father Chu Shanhe. Chu Xinghe was young, but he already had the qualifications to compete with the older generation in the true soul realm. After breaking, he would be reborn from the flames. Chu Xinghe had become even stronger. Chu Shi broke out in laughter. Xinghe is already this strong. The day of him becoming a marquis is just around the corner. First we'll kill that brat Chu Tian and step on his corpse to reach a higher position. Chu Xinghe slowly descended. Chu Xinghe was very clear on Chu Tian's strength. Even if this fellow was a monstrous talent, he could not have improved that much in such a short period of time. Even if Chu Xinghe had stagnated for many days, he would not lose to Chu Tian. Not to mention that Chu Xinghe was not the same as before. The current Chu Xinghe, not to mention Central State, even if it was the younger generation geniuses of the 8 states, how many of them could catch his eye? Chu Xinghe was not even 30 years old yet. Even the Southern Summer 8 marquises did not have Chu Xinghe's strength when they were at this age. If Chu Xinghe was born in a marquis family, he could directly inherit the marquis position. If Chu Xinghe was born in one of the 3 great families, he would only need to gain merits on the battlefield for 2 years, and he could directly become a marquis before he was 30. The Central State Chu family was not considered strong in southern Xia, so it was not easy for them to become a marquis. However, with a genius like Chu Xinghe appearing, becoming a marquis family was only a matter of time. Miracle Commerce does not know about Xinghe's breakthrough, so this matter must be kept a secret. Chu Shi said this, and then added, "In order to be safe, I want to see my 2 old enemies." Chu Shi left the Chu family. The old enemies Chu Shi mentioned were not others. They were the 2 great elders of the Luo family and the Ye family. These 2 elders had returned to Central State City 3 days ago, but the news had been blocked, so the people of Central State City did not know about it. Even the middle and lower class members of the 2 families did not know about it. Chu Shi and the 2 of them met in a secret location. The Ye family's great elder's name was Ghost Eye Wolf Yi. His appearance was that of an old and thin man with a black eye patch covering one eye. He held a long iron staff in his hand. Although his appearance was not very eye-catching, and he was even a blind cripple, he was actually a legendary figure in the mercenary world. The Luo family's great elder, giant spirit lion Luo Wanxiang. Perhaps because of the influence of his family's cultivation technique, Luo Wanxiang was just like the other members of the Luo family. His body was very strong, and his face was full of muscles. Although he was old, he was still strong, and his hair was not completely white. His arms were long and strong, and his palms were thick and large, covered in black hair. Even if it was steel, he would still be able to crush it. Chu Shi looked at his 2 old enemies and couldn't help but sigh with emotion. "I never thought that there would be a day when us 3 old fellows would join hands." Yi said in a hoarse voice, "The changes of the world are not fixed. It all depends on benefits. If there are benefits, we gather, and if there are no benefits, we scatter." What else can I say? Because one's cultivation base was deep, they could slow down their aging to a certain degree. However, these 3 old fellows were already over 80 years old and had spent half their lives fighting for benefits. They had already become old foxes with deep schemes that were hard to measure. That's right. This time we have split the Yun family and Miracle Commerce. This is the time for our family to soar. Chu Shi did not waste words. "Are you prepared?" Luo Wanxiang said in a confident voice. 500 elites of the Luo family and 3,000 law enforcers from the supervisor's palace will ambush the Miracle Commerce headquarters. Once we receive news from the arena, we will immediately attack Miracle Commerce and destroy their foundation. The Ye family's wolf cavalry will ambush the camp outside of Central State City. Once Xiong Wuji attempts to rescue them, the Ye family will be responsible for stopping this force. Yi gently tapped his iron staff and softly said, 500 Blood Wolf mercenaries will ambush the Yun family. Once the plan begins, we will immediately attack the Yun family, and this old man will personally kill Yin Tianhe. Good. Chu Shi slapped the table and stood up. The Chu family's 800 death-sworn swordsmen will infiltrate the arena. If there are any unexpected changes, we will first kill Chu Tian and decide the overall situation. Then it's decided. What about the mayor? No need to worry, the mayor will not stop us. Rather, he will secretly help us. As long as we get rid of the thorn in our side like Chu Tian, the result will be good for everyone. The three old men's eyes met, and they finally reached an agreement. After a hurricane, only the grass would remain. Now it was the time to counterattack. The three families had tolerated Chu Tian for several weeks. Now that the time had come, they would use a thunderous method to eliminate this power that should not have appeared. Along with the Yun family that did not know what was good for them, they would completely eliminate them from the Central State map. Everything. There will be results tomorrow. The three great remote elders and the three families would all come out. Central State would welcome a storm of blood. When the dust settled, a new order would be established. The last man standing would be the king. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.